You don't win in my yard. I win all of you.
Daddy, chill.
What the hell is even that?
You're listening to Fishing the DMV with your hosts, Thomas Ahrens and Jared Mounts. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what will.
Good morning, everybody. This is Fishing the DMV live from the Berkeley Springs Fishing Show and Flea Market. I'm your host, Thomas Ahrens, and this is...
Hey, Jared Mounts, Jake's Bait and Tackle.
So, sorry about the craziness, guys. The weather decided in March to hit us with a blizzard, among other things besides internet service. So, we're here. Hopefully, the audio is good. We don't have the microphones either. It's been one of those days. But you know what? The show must go on. So, here we are. We got some fun guests, though, right?
Yeah, we got a lot of people lined up here to come talk to us today. We're in an area, fishing the DMV. We're kind of a tri-state, quad state area when we talk about Pennsylvania, Virginia, Maryland, and we're in West Virginia currently right now. But, less than 10, 15 miles, you'd be in Maryland. Probably drove 20 minutes, 30 minutes out of Virginia. So we're, again, the state, the region that we're in, a lot of different waters. That's, I think, the whole point is fishing in DMV to make people aware of the waters that are out here. And I know a lot of people that shop at Jake's are fishing up on this area, the Potomac River. It's probably their biggest or most fished body of water in this particular area.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So
then who's our first guest?
We got Craig. I'm gonna bring Craig in here shortly when he comes around. So Berkeley Springs Fishing Club is like most youth fishing clubs, high school Bassmaster type clubs, and Patty Caldwell ran it for many, many years. And they started this. This show is actually to benefit the Berkeley Springs High School fishing team, and so we'll bring him on to kind of talk about that. They pass it on to Craig. Craig's going to take it over. He's doing a lot of great things, and this is just a great way to help promote the youth fishing, but also allow vendors to come in and kind of sell products. And what better way, like you're saying, the snow. I mean, it's snowing outside. Mm-hmm. It's not a good day to be on the water. So if you can't be on the water, why not come in and look at fishing lures, buy fishing lures, talk fishing?
Yeah, so it is not. But because you had a tournament, right? The guy.
Well, yes. For us personally, our junior team, Frederick County Bass team, is we're headed to Smith Mountain Lake, and practice day was supposed to be today. We had some anglers get down Thursday and Friday and got on the water. They had the Southern Division, probably 40 plus teams, supposed to fish today on Smith Mountain Lake, with the Northern Division fishing Sunday. Because of the high winds and the weather, they pushed both north and south to Sunday, going out of Parkway Marina, Smith Mountain Lake. So I'm going to head out of town here shortly, about 1 o'clock, and head south so that we can fish that qualifier, the third qualifier for the high school Bassmaster on Smith Mountain Lake. So
that's a good deal. Good deal. Yeah, well, be safe in your travels.
Yeah, thank you. I know they're also fishing that big bass tournament. That's still on down there on Smith Mountain today. So we'll have to look that up and see. And that's one of the ones where they're weighing fish every hour. I've never fished one of those, but every hour you come to the scales with a fish, and if you have big fish for that hour, then you get a cut a check.
Wow. So maybe we can get somebody on for that at some point.
Yeah, I talked to somebody at Jake's yesterday that's in it that, I'll reach out to him and see if he's willing. He's down fishing it today. So
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. Yeah, really. I mean, it's, and again, that's a different format. I know Neil has fished it. I know a few people that have fished that style tournament, but
I'm not familiar with it though. I've never done it before.
It's pretty cool actually. It's I've never done it, but from what I understand, it's a pretty cool format.
So then let's I guess I'll deal with the chats right now. If you want to get our first guests on, then we can do musical chairs.
That'll work. Let me go grab it.
But let me see here, guys. Tell me, how does the audio quality sound right now? All right, so a couple of questions that I had from last time. Sweet. Hey, Travis, how you doing? We're waiting for people to roll in. We got a bunch of guests today that are scheduled, and hopefully we get them all in. We're here to try to support the youth program. Little background noise. It's okay. We did what we could. Best of the both worlds here. But it's snowy out. We're in the middle of a flea market. It's going to be a little bit noisy. We're doing the best we can. I left my $2,000 microphones at home because I'm an idiot and I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Blame me. Spam me in the channel. It is my fault, 100%. But like a true bass fisherman, I brought backup equipment. But the backup equipment was definitely not the highest of quality. So, but a couple of questions from last time that we had. Let's see right here. Let's see, Thomas, what would you do? What would you be fishing during a cold front this time of year? So, this time of year, and you didn't state on the question this time of year if I should be throwing, if it's a lake, if it's a river, things like that. I'm assuming you're going to be saying a lake, so jerkbait. A deep diving jerkbait or a normal diving jerkbait, depending on the depth. Let's say you're fishing Lake Anna, go with a jerkbait. The other thing I would do is just a jig, especially when you get these fronts that come in and out like that. If you need 5 bites, that's all you need. Sweet, thank you guys. Yeah. Again, apologize for that. I usually have my big fancy mics, but I left those at home. Kind of Chinese fire drill getting this up and running because it's bad here. For the people that are in Northern Virginia, we got hit really hard with a massive blizzard today. And so we were kind of debating whether we were going to still do this live stream or not with how bad the weather was from location. I really wanted to do this from location so that we could show off this flea market to help support local high school teams. But we made it work. We got this dialed in. And then we're going to be getting our guests in here. And then we also have a really, really cool guest from Fredericksburg, Virginia, that is going to be coming on later. I'll be teasing that. He's going to be our last guest of the day. We're also going to have him on for a podcast episode here shortly, just to kind of go over kind of the fishing opportunities that are down in the Frederick, Williamsburg area. It's up here. Four inches of snow. Guys, this is freaking ridiculous. And there are still some tournaments going on, which is insane. Like, I don't know how that's going down. But we're gonna have Marty Lawson of Rippin' Lips with Larry Larson. He's gonna be on later today to really discuss about local bait companies in his area to help support them. And then again, this is more of an appetizer. We're gonna have him on the podcast later on in the year, and he's gonna talk about all the fishing opportunities down his way. Because I'm hopefully not only want to do a podcast episode, of course, highlighting those areas, but I want to actually go down there and shoot video of some of those lakes down there that are really, really cool. And then
Bring on Jeff Green first.
All right. Here. So we got our first guest that's going to be coming on. It's going to be Jeff Green. So here you go. Yeah, you can sit right there. And then there you go.
Put these in, and then your mic's right underneath them. I'm gonna have to get back out a little bit. We don't have him. A little more. That's probably good. Hi guys, we got Jeff Green here with us and Shallow Water Fishing Adventures.
Yep.
Met Jeff probably, it's been probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Yep.
Or more. Jeff came out to one of our little events and set up and promoted his guide service, and we have his cards and information at the shop. And so tell us a little bit about you and what got you into guiding.
Well, I was born and raised in Montgomery County, Maryland. I fished the Upper Potomac River basically my entire life. I started off in the tributaries, Seneca Creek, some of the other ones that are close by in that area. Started off with bobbers and hooks and worms. Graduated to rooster tails, and then from there I started using those Rapala F7s. They're about 3 inches long. They call them floating lure. They've been around since Rapala's been in existence. I believe they're balsa wood type lures. And from there, when I got old enough, I got a John boat, and I was last seen. And I did a lot of catfishing too, growing up. My friends would be off hanging out on the weekends,
right,
and I'm on the shoreline fishing at 1 o'clock in the morning.
That's awesome.
So I know a little bit about quite a few of the fish that swim in the Potomac River. But
what areas are you targeting in your guide service? What areas are you fishing?
From Seneca Creek.
Okay.
You know where that is?
You know, and it's funny. Thomas and I were talking. The whole point of this podcast, fishing at EMD, and we were just mentioning off camera about, and it's a great idea. There's nothing like this in our area to promote, and we're kind of, I think, we're creatures of habit. We kind of stick to our area, and we know our area, but we don't venture out past that. So the waters you're going to be talking about, I haven't fished, and so just as you talk about it too, our viewers that are listening or watching, you know.
Well, most of these spots that I go out of are historic. Riley's Lock is one of them, which is Seneca Creek. That's one of the bigger tributaries to the to that portion of the Upper Potomac River. I fish just right there where Riley's Lock is. There's a section there. It's pretty much non-existent anymore, but that's what Dam 2 was.
Okay.
Right there. And then below that, you have what they call the Seneca Breaks.
Okay.
And I don't go below that. That's pretty rough water.
Right.
And not too far below that's Great Falls.
Okay.
So that's where the Upper Potomac River starts.
Gotcha.
Because we don't have, that's where the tide stops. And then north, you got the Algonquian. Is it Regional Park? There's a boat ramp over there that I fished out of. I pick people up. And go further north, there's some private boat ramps like White's Ferry, Edwards Ferry, Monocacy boat ramp. I think there's a Nolan's Ferry. There's just tons of them. Lander, and then Brunswick.
Are you targeting mostly smallmouth?
Yeah, I'm targeting smallmouth on the Potomac River, Upper Potomac, smallmouth, and largemouth. There's big largemouth in the Upper Potomac River.
Okay.
And I find them usually in the colder months, early spring and late fall.
Okay.
Somehow they just appear.
Gotcha.
There was a spot earlier this year in a creek on the Upper Potomac River that had, this area had a bunch of like trees and debris on it.
Okay.
Man, there was largemouth there for like 2 weeks.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah, it just kept relentless, just hitting it, and eventually they just kind of the water changed, and you know they moved.
Interesting.
But it was nothing to catch a dozen of them real quick on a trip.
Wow. And you were telling me off camera too, like I guess the health of the fishery is pretty good.
I think so. I'm not a biologist.
No, but I mean you're fishing, you're seeing it,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
catching it. You were telling me there was a
I
potential
see
4
all
or
kinds
5
of
pound
wildlife.
smallmouth.
I see minks on the river.
Right.
I hear coyotes on the river. There's bald eagles everywhere. From Seneca Creek on up where I fish, there's a lot of them. I know of about 7 nests that you can see from the river.
Yeah.
But there's all kinds of critters on the water.
Oh,
There's giant snapping turtles in there. We've hooked them a few times by accident. They don't like that. They get pretty mad. They come up hissing, you know.
Yeah, right.
And trying to snap at everything. But there's muskie down there from time to time. But the smallmouth population obviously could be better, probably. But there's some good smallmouth in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's monsters in there. Citation fish.
That's
They're
great.
20 inches or bigger.
Boogie Cush here says Montgomery County. Hell yeah, same here. So that's cool. So we got some listeners that are in your area.
Great.
You guys jump on and ask us if you have any questions for Jeff. Shoot them out to us right now before we let him go back to his booth. But also real quick before we forget, if you don't mind, how can people find you to book a trip to fish with you?
You can go to shallowwaterfishingadventures.net. You can find me on Facebook, Shallow Water Fishing Adventures. Just type it in. I'm on Instagram. And you can go on Google and just type in Jeff Green Fishing, and I'll pop up. I fish 365 days a year. This is what I do for a job, what I do for a living. So I'm out there constantly.
That's awesome. Now you left law enforcement, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I did.
Right?
Yeah.
And I remember talking.
Yeah, I left
about that early
after
on.
a little over 12 years.
Okay. And then you had this crazy idea you're going to do this.
Yeah, it was crazy. They thought I was crazy. They wanted to know why I was leaving the police department.
Yeah, right.
And I said, I want to fish.
Yeah, there you go.
They're like, good luck.
But how many years ago has that been?
That's been 5.
Okay. But you're still doing it. That's great.
And it's Shallow Water Fishing Adventures LLC. So I'm
good.
It's an actually registered business in the state of Maryland.
Correct.
So
and you're running a jet boat.
I'm running a jet boat. I run a Sea Arc jet boat. I can take 2 people at a time.
Okay.
It's you know, I haven't had any issues yet with the water being too low from the time I've been fishing, but you have to be careful. I go off the Edwards Ferry gauge. So for anyone that's listening and you have your own boat and you're fishing, be very careful once the water gets to about 3 feet of the Edwards Ferry gauge. Because it starts getting, it's pretty hairy. But other than that, I mean, anywhere in that stretch, the fishing's excellent. No matter what anyone tells you.
Right.
You know, you have a lot of people that really have a negative outlook because they go out maybe once a year on the river.
Right.
And they hit it on a bad day.
Right.
I hit it on a bad day.
That's
I
very
fish it all the time.
That's correct.
And there's sometimes where I hit it on a bad day. The water level is everything.
Okay.
They're dictated by the water level, 100%. They move, even with inches of water falling, they move.
Okay.
So
that's good
and
information.
then you have temperature and water clarity that play a factor in that too.
Gotcha.
But I try not to be away from the river more than a couple of days.
Right.
Because they go ghost on me.
And that you bring up an interesting point. I always say that, and I don't consider myself a great fisherman. I love to fish, but because I work so much, I don't get on the water enough. And so, to your point, it's kind of like
you said you work too much, and I tell you I'm fishing.
You're fishing too much.
Yeah.
But if you do go out there just one time, once or twice a month, well, you know, you're not going to be able to get any better, or you might be hitting the wrong time of day, like you said, or the wrong water clarity, water temperature, or a high pressure system comes in.
I mean, probably the best time of year for someone that doesn't fish, that wants to do it on their own, and only gets every so often gets the ability to go out and fish. I'd fish the warmer months.
Okay.
And I would find places to wade into the river because they're out in the middle of the river and the water's low.
Right.
So when the river falls, as a rule, when it falls, they come closer to the middle. As the river rises, they push out to the shore.
Kind of a bathtub effect,
Yeah. And at some point in time, if you can catch them any time of the year, water's at whatever level they think that's appropriate to push out, they're all on the shoreline.
Gotcha.
And it's an all-out, you know, it could be a great day.
Good deal. Well, guys.
And also, real quick, I have the shallowwaterfishingadventures.net, my guide service. I also have SWFA baits, which is shallow water fishing adventure baits. Okay. I sell soft plastic baits and hard baits.
Awesome.
Anything you were to purchase from me, I use them on my guide service.
Okay.
I don't make anything. I stay away from making custom stuff for people because whatever I make, if I don't sell it, I just use it.
Right.
So I will have a website at some point in time this summer that I'll launch.
Awesome.
That will be a part of my website. That will be part of my guide service where you can go and purchase the baits.
Awesome.
And they're going to be for a good price and they're good quality.
That's great. And I get your newsletter a lot too.
And I do a newsletter.
Subscribe to your newsletter, monthly newsletter, and that's a good way too to get information. And so Thomas, I know, does a good job of linking all these links in down below. And so we'll make sure we get that information out as well. And I just really appreciate you doing what you do.
Again.
And yes, sir. And if you guys are looking for a new area to fish, new water to fish,
I also fish the Susquehanna River. I guide on that too. I forgot to tell you that.
It's a powerful smallmouth river.
Yeah,
so,
that's a big smallmouth river. So if you're looking at the Susquehanna, I fish in the Duncannon area.
Okay, that's a good area.
And the Juniata.
Juniata comes down.
I also guide on the, I guess you could say I guide on the Monocacy too, because I'll sometimes spend an entire trip in the Monocacy. Do not sleep on the Monocacy River. There's big fish in there.
Wow.
Big fish, big largemouth and smallmouth.
And that Susquehanna Juniata stretch is nice too, because the Susquehanna's blown out. You can go right up to Juniata, and you can still catch, a lot of quality smallmouth up that creek. So and you can pretty much spend all day just right in that area.
You can in the confluence.
So much water. Yeah.
I've experienced that. Yeah. And the Juniata is just an extension of the Susquehanna. It's an awesome fishery.
That's cool. Yeah. Man, we appreciate what you're doing, and if you guys are listening and you're in the area, stop out here at Berkeley Springs High School, and you can meet a lot of different vendors out here, talk to Jeff, and talk fishing. So it's a great thing to do here on this snowy March day.
Yeah.
So thanks, sir.
No problem. What, about 5 minutes for the next guest?
Yeah.
Just take about 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
What would they say about the audio? I know it's go figure. When I leave the $2,000 mics at home. Sweet. Yeah.
Last summer, I loved become absolutely obsessed with bass fishing. Really fishing in Western Maryland, fished ponds and lakes.
Hey, is it off now? Is the audio off?
No, the audio is still on. It's just not as up to my levels, my quality levels.
I don't know if you could. Are you getting people on there talking?
Yeah.
Yeah, come over here and look.
Yeah, tons of people talking. Alrighty, so we got our first guest done. Yeah, sorry again, guys, for the audio the way it is right there.
So he's absolutely obsessed with that.
Good.
We got about 13, 15
March.
hours long.
It is. It really is. And the only reason why.
All right, sorry about the audio, guys. We're doing the best we can with what we got. So we're going to answer some questions here, and then we're going to kind of get into our next guest.
He's late 80s. And I believe he's still alive. And a lot of other stuff.
So we're going to answer here some questions, guys, before we get our next guest on the show.
Just that real quick.
There we go. Perfect. So, yeah, huge shout out for Jared for coming today to kind of help me out. Again, guys, if you're just tuning in, I left my expensive studio microphones at home because due to the snow, I was an idiot. So let's go with a question here from Travis. Have you ever fished in a snowstorm like this before? I have. I went to Shenandoah University, actually, in Winchester, Virginia, Travis. And I actually would, in between like classes, if like the snow started, I would get my rods that I kept in the dorm, and I would go down to Wilkinson Pond or Wilkinson Lake right there in Jim Barnett Park. I actually shot a winter video there. If you guys want, go into the video archive and look for it. It's called Hidden Gems, part of my Hidden Gem series. Fantastic pond. But anyway, as soon as the snow, if you're in the middle of a snowstorm and you're out there, you will have some of the best fishing of your life, period. Topwater and power fishing. I don't know why it does it, but it turns them on. I think it has to do with something with barometric pressure, Travis. But yeah, I mean, guys, in the comment section, let me know. Have you guys fished in a snowstorm? If you have, what was your success like? For me, I would go with a crankbait or some kind of topwater bait, generally speaking, if I'm fishing in the snowstorm. And what's weird is just before the snowstorm hits, the fishing can be iffy depending as that front comes in, and that's where that jerk bait or a jig is good. But once the snow starts, the fishing can absolutely just be bananas.
What I think probably I have fun doing because I'm not worried about anything about
Well, I'll tell you another example.
Boogie, I might actually try to go out after this and give it a shot. Yeah, give it a shot. Absolutely. There's something about the snow because it does two things. One, it's no different. Let me back up. When we fish in the wintertime, we have this issue of assuming the fish is thinking what we're thinking. And what I mean by that is, if it's cold out and we're freezing, we don't want to be out there, we're assuming the fish are thinking the exact same thing. And this really translates when you're fishing for Florida bass. So what I mean by that is, if you go down in January, February, and you're from Canada, you're thinking, hey, it's summertime. It's really nice out here. Well, the fish don't think that. So what happens is you start fishing faster because you're assuming the fish like the weather like you do. And that's where I think Florida fishing kind of really bites people. It's like, you don't understand. It's February for them. It's cold. You got to fish slow. Well, it's the same thing when it's snowing. When it's snowing, we think, okay, it's snowing, it's terrible out. We don't like this. Therefore, the fish doesn't like it. Snow to a fish is just like rain. It does the exact same thing. You know, when it's a rainy day, how the activity of the fish pick up, generally speaking. It's the same thing with the snowstorm. Same thing with the snowstorm. Let's see. Got a couple more questions here. We'll bring up our next guest. Thank you so much for doing this podcast and letting us interact. Really much appreciated. Yeah, absolutely. Like fishing the DMV, I'm hoping that this grows into not just me just doing YouTube videos. There's a ton of people out there. I want this to be a digital media platform for the area. I want to have a podcast that highlights all the fisheries and the anglers of the area, all the opportunities. I want to do videos that really highlight different fisheries at different times, just kind of like In Fisherman used to do. And I would like to eventually hire on more content creators to kind of do an umbrella, so we can highlight everything from trout, catfish, bass, striper. All that I would like to highlight eventually on this channel, because there's so many great fishing opportunities, but it's so hard to find them. So, but thank you guys so much, and hopefully we can keep growing this. Let's see, got a couple more before we get our next guest on here. Boogie Crush, 4 inches of snow, and it's still going. That is freaking nuts. Yeah, I know. And I know there were a bunch of tournaments down at Smith Mountain Lake this weekend that got canceled today. I think the Big Bass Bash is still going on, which is pretty nuts. But that's the thing about this time of year. I mean, that's the biggest thing about this time of year, though. It is, it's feast or famine here or there. Like, the fish are always constantly moving. And remember, guys, like, the fish up here are behind. So what I mean by that is, if you guys watched the Bassmaster Classic last week, understanding that Lake Hartwell is much further south. Those fish that are pushing up, they're ready to try to lock onto the beds here next week or two. Up here, we are still in pre-spawn mode. And the funky thing is with this kind of storm like this, what it's going to do is those fish are going to push up and they're going to lock. Generally speaking, bass, they don't go backwards. So if a fish is in its wintering hole and it moves up to, let's say, a dock on a point, well, what will happen is when the weather gets bad, that fish doesn't back out. It just locks down right there. And so when you are fishing in this time of year and the weather gets bad, your first mindset will be to backtrack sometimes. If you caught fish there, and this is just my opinion, I could be wrong. If you caught fish there the week before, they're probably still in that generic area because they want to push the spawning flats. They want to push the spawning bays. And if you guys want to, let me know in the comment section. We can go through Google Maps. Hopefully, if I can get it up, we're on the school's Wi-Fi, and we'll see what we can be able to do with that. And then, did you want to bring our next guest on here soon? Okay, sweet. So, guys, we're going to be having our next guest on here pretty shortly. Again, guys, this is to really help out the local high schools in the area. This whole thing is to help out the local high school. We're at Berkeley Springs Fishing Show in Flea Market. If you guys want to, come on out. There's a ton of great vendors out here, a lot of great people. It's freezing cold, not the best time to fish. The next guest that we're having on, Larry, we're just bringing on the individual who is running this expo right now, and then we're going to have Larry on next. So. All right, guys. So we're going to be bringing on our next guest right here. All right, ready? Let's put that on.
Thank you, Thomas.
Put these in.
Yeah. Hi, guys. Got our next guest here, Craig Cockrell. Say that right?
Yep, Cockrell.
And with Berkeley Springs Fishing Team. As I mentioned before earlier in the show, Patty Caldwell and her family has run this club for quite some time, and this is a transition year. You've taken it over.
Yep.
And so, and you guys are hosting this great little fishing event here today. So thank you for coming on. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're doing here.
Yeah. So I've been a captain for the club for, 2-3 years now. And, Patty came up to me and said, hey, you want to take it over? So, this is my first year. And, the club is kind of unique when it comes to high school clubs because we basically take kids that may not get a chance to get on a boat and get volunteer captains to take them out on our tournaments. So we've got a pretty full schedule this year. We got 7 tournaments coming up.
What are some of the locations on those tournaments?
Yeah, so our first one will be at 4 Locks.
Okay.
We're kicking around James Randolph. Hopefully the gas prices will
Yeah,
treat
right.
us a little
It's hurting us
better.
a little bit, yeah.
And then we're going to go to Lower Potomac
Okay, cool.
in June, the end of June, and then actually try to do a bank tournament.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, in June, and then we'll be at Dargan in July, and then back at Four Locks for our Veterans Day tournament.
Oh, very good.
So yeah, we try to do a Veterans Day tournament every year. Try to get our veterans in the local community out on the boat.
That's great. You guys have like a Facebook page or website or anything people can check you out on?
Yeah. So we got a Facebook page, Berkeley Springs High School Fishing Club.
Okay.
Give us a like, and we post in there as much as we can.
Craig, I think it's so important. I also, out of Virginia, Frederick County, am a boat captain, and it's two things I want to throw out there. If you're a young angler, middle or high school, and are interested in fishing on a competitive team, reach out to these programs. And then also, though, the boat captains, those folks that maybe have a boat that like to fish, love to fish, and would be willing to take 2 kids out on the water. We're always looking for boat captains to get these kids on the water. And I know Thomas, great story about him, grew up bank fishing and different things in Loudoun County. And then, once he fished that first tournament, he just, that love for passion for fishing, competitive fishing, just was even more. And then he started the club at Shenandoah University fishing team.
Yeah.
And they competed, him and his brother competed on a national circuit, so collegiately. And so it's just a great opportunity. And I think those are pretty much the two needs: the boat captain, the boat, willingness to take kids out, and the kids that want to get involved in this. There's opportunities. A lot of people, we were talking earlier off camera, a lot of people still don't know about it.
Right.
Don't know about the opportunities.
Right. Yep. And so we're going to try to spread the word a little more here at the school. And
tell us a little bit about what's happening today. What is this event today? Today?
So this is our big kind of fundraiser for the year. It'll also kind of help us in the beginning of next year. But yeah, it's kind of your typical fishing show. Lots of vendors here. We got a custom turkey call maker, so that's a little different. For your typical fishing show. Got somebody selling baked goods, so there's something for everybody here.
And then you'll have some raffles.
Yep.
People can pay some money. There's some raffle items that you can pay to win different things. Seeing life jackets and baits, rods, different things, and that money goes to the fishing club to help support the youth.
Yep, that raffle goes to the fishing club. And then, hey, if you don't like to fish, don't need any fishing stuff, we got tons of concessions here right now. So
let me tell you something: the ham, egg, and country ham, egg, and cheese sandwich. I had one before I came on here. It was delicious.
I heard it's popular.
I tell you what, too, I love fishing, and that's one of the reasons I come there, because the food's always so good. Everybody knows me and knows I like to eat. So.
Yep, and so we'll be running till 4:00 this afternoon. So we got dinner covered, lunch covered.
And this is an annual event. Happens pretty much the same weekend every year. So
yeah, we missed last year because of COVID.
Yeah.
But we're going to try to hold it every year.
Yeah. But folks, if you didn't get a chance to make it this year, put it on your calendar for next year. It is a great event, great thing to get out and again help youth fishing. Appreciate you taking over, and
definitely keep an eye on the Facebook pages.
Yep.
I try to post on all the local fishing Facebook pages.
That's very good.
And ours.
So then again, if you're in the area, stop out. And Craig, thank you for coming on, and thank you for putting on this event, and thank you for keeping the young generation involved in fishing. We got to keep it going. That's what I love about this industry, though. You look around from very young to very old, and everywhere in between, we all have this passion for fishing, and that's what it's all about. So appreciate what you do.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks for coming on. If you can, if you have a young angler that's good at talking, whatever, we'll bring them on too.
Yeah.
Send them over.
I was thinking about actually Willie over here. He's a senior.
Yep. Let's send them over.
Yeah.
Send them over. We'll let them talk.
Okay.
So we're going to be bringing our next guest. Asked Craig to bring one of the youth anglers, Berkeley Springs anglers, on, and we're going to just talk to him a little bit, and then we'll keep them coming. And then
10 o'clock, we got our next guest lined up. He's going to call in soon.
All right, good. 10 o'clock, we got a guest coming on at 10, and we'll have a guest calling in at 10 o'clock. So we'll just keep this going, and appreciate those that are. Hey there, Travis. Doing well, pal. Wish was on the water, but this is the next best thing. I appreciate you guys that are listening out there that have are.
Marty Lawson. He'll be coming on.
Okay, so we had a gentleman coming on, Marty Lawson. He grew up in Maine, catching native brook trout and smallies. Joined the Navy, and so he's got a YouTube channel. He fishes the local waters here around Fredericksburg, so he'll be coming up on at 10 o'clock, and Thomas will be bringing him in to talk to you guys. So, yeah, you guys keep sharing the word here about fishing the DMV, where we've got ideas and plans moving forward in the future. As an example, ICAST in July, we're going to be at ICAST, and Thomas is doing great things with this podcast, digital media, and we're going to bring ICAST to you this year in 2022. Orlando, Florida, ICAST is when all the manufacturers, vendors bring out the new product. And so we got our next guest coming in here. Haven't met him yet. Got a name on let's put those on there, young man.
Yes, sir.
Willie Nutter, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, saw a name on your shirt there. So Willie, we're fishing the DMV. Thomas Aaron's here. Started this, had this crazy idea, and we've heard about podcasts out there. I don't know if you listen to them or not,
Yeah.
but a little backstory on this guy. He fished. He didn't fish in high school. He fished, but didn't have a fishing club team like you have. A lot of our local kids have, but he went to Shenandoah University. He was a pitcher on the baseball team, and had shoulder surgery and still had eligibility. So he and his brother, he started the fishing team at Shenandoah University and fished the collegiate series. And so the opportunities that are out there for competitive fishing for young people is tremendous. So Thomas has brought this forward, and that's why we're here today. Tell us a little bit about Willie Nutter and who you are, where you go to school, and what you're doing here on the fishing team.
I go to school at Berkeley Springs High School.
Okay.
I'm a senior this year.
All right.
I enjoy, hanging out with my friends and going fishing in the summertime.
Cool.
And then here, it's just, just get together once a month and go fishing and have a little bit of fun.
Good deal.
Meet new people.
Have you grown up fishing since you were young?
Yeah. Went out with my grandfather a lot.
Where would you fish growing up?
Just on the Potomac.
Potomac
Go to
River?
Sleepy Creek and stuff.
Okay. Sleepy Creek?
Yep.
What were you catching out of Sleepy Creek?
Mainly just catfishing.
Catfish? That's
Yep.
good. That's good. And fishing with your grandfather?
Yep.
Very good. Very good. How about the Potomac? What do you find brings you? What specific area of the Potomac you fishing?
Just right there near the boat ramp, being little, couldn't go very far.
Okay. Yeah. And what are you catching on the Potomac?
Just having fun catching sunnies.
Yeah, whatever bite, right?
Yep.
That's right. How long have you been on the fishing club?
I've been in here since my freshman year.
Freshman year, so you're on year 4.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about the different bodies of waters that you fished over the last 4 years. Maybe your favorite body of water that you fished.
My favorite body of water was probably down towards Big Pool.
Okay.
Down there, that was a nice one.
All right.
Not very many big fish, but you can catch them down there.
Okay, you catch the numbers.
Yeah.
What is your favorite technique?
Running tubes.
Tubes.
Yep.
All right, big tube fishing.
Yeah.
Which is river fishing, a lot of tube fishing. That's very good. So, so you're a senior this year. Do you have any plans after you graduate?
I'm gonna wait a year and then I'm looking to go to the Navy.
Oh, very good.
Going there for welding.
For welding?
Yeah.
Awesome. That is great. Welders are much needed. Trades are something that's very important, and that's great. Going to the Navy and being a welder.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So we appreciate you coming on, and maybe just share too, because we're always talking about how there's a lot of people still don't know about club fishing.
Yeah, that's been one of the biggest problems around here. Is not a lot of people know about it.
Yeah, and I think I've heard people say that, in some areas, Nolan Miner was talking about it. He said, when he was growing up, he's a little bit older than you, but it wasn't even very popular to be known as a fisherman back in the day. But I think that's changing now.
It is.
And so what would you say to young people that maybe are in middle school or high school that enjoy fishing, but, really love fishing and maybe want to see it on the competitive side?
And just give it a shot.
Give it a shot.
Just give it a shot. Go out there and try. Talk to somebody that's doing it.
Now, do you need? A lot of people don't know this either. Do you have to have a boat? Like, do you your dad the boat captain?
No.
Okay.
You don't have to. Not here at Berkeley Springs.
Okay, so you don't have to have a boat, and dad doesn't have to have a boat. Just get on the team.
Yep.
And then they pair you up with a partner.
Yep.
That does either have a boat or they get a volunteer boat captain to.
Yeah. You can be partnered with one of your friends or something.
That's
It
good.
doesn't really matter.
That's cool. Is it just specific to Berkeley Springs? I know this area here, and have you pulled anybody from any other area?
No, not really.
It's all around Berkeley Springs.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that have done graduated. They probably knew about it. They'd have been on the team, but
Right.
it's hard to. A lot of kids don't know about it.
That's true. Yeah. So just maybe this is another way to, you have friends or family or kids that are coming up that might be interested in it. It's something they can look into for sure. So good luck this year.
Thank you.
Wish you luck, and we'll follow you on Facebook and go out there and rip some lips and hopefully win a tournament. So
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for coming on. Appreciate you. Got a couple minutes here, and about 10 minutes we'll be bringing on our next guest. And again, just appreciate you guys following us.
Sweet. Alrighty. And we got him in the queue.
Okay.
He's got a YouTube channel. Let's see that. Okay. Ripping Lips. Fredericksburg.
Good, you?
Here.
Oh, you're from St. Rod, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, cool. Is it,
Yeah,
I
right.
was looking for something right on.
Yeah, I was gonna say like just write down your number, and I'll shoot you a text after we're done here, and we can get you set up.
Daniel?
I'm Derek. My brother's Daniel.
Derek. Daniel here too?
Yep.
Are you the one that has a son or the other?
All right.
I've got a son. He's got two sons.
One was
I live in Lake
interested.
Holiday. I was
All
at the Lake
You
meeting.
sound.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound fantastic. How do we sound?
Yeah, you sound okay.
Okay, sweet. Let me adjust the cameras here. Let me remove this one. That's much
Go on,
better.
Marty.
Much better.
Hey guys, how's it going this morning?
It's been crazy. Luckily, you don't have the same weather we do. I got up at 5:30 in the morning to try to get down here, and it took me forever. I think I sent you a picture of the roads because apparently we pay the state a lot of money not to plow, which is really, really nice. So
Well, I'll tell you, this morning here, it started out rain, turned to freezing rain. I just ran upstairs, like I said, to get another cup of coffee, and I look outside. It is snowing like crazy here.
oh my
So,
goodness.
and I have relatives down in Huntsville, Alabama, and they're getting a ton of snow. They could get up to 5 inches of snow in Huntsville, Alabama,
Oh,
which is just, that's devastating. And that's going to shut them down for about 3 days.
Yeah. It's just absolutely crazy. And
I'm
like,
looking out the window, Thomas. It's blowing sideways. out that window.
it's bad. It's really bad. And I got a 2-wheel drive car, so I don't know. I might be stuck here all day. But so just for the people that don't know, tell everyone a little about yourself. We actually met, I guess, via a live stream, right? It's kind of when we
Yeah.
first interacted.
Yeah, that's you were doing a live stream and I was making comments, and you actually went on Google Maps and looked up one of the local reservoirs here, Hunting Run. And I think you were amazed that there's a body of water like that down here. And
I'm amazed by the water you have down there. I got on Google Earth later that night after the live stream, and I was shocked. You guys have so many fisheries down that way that I didn't even know about.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is it doesn't get broadcast very much because all the reservoirs are electric only. And so you don't have a lot of the big boats out there like you do at Anna. So for someone like me that has that small little bass raider with my trolling motor on it, these reservoirs are just perfect. I can go out there They just have a blast all day. It's not overfished. Everyone you meet out there is really nice. And, there's a couple guys that are local. The one place, which is called Lake of the Woods, you actually have to be a member and get a permit and things like that to fish that place because it's a HOA community. Okay. But there's a guy out there, Titus Pope. He has a YouTube channel, Your Next Cast, and he does a lot of fishing at Hunting Run and at Lake of the Woods. And I mean, he catches fish like crazy. My other buddy Shane Flint from Shane Flint Outdoors, he posts a video pretty much every Friday. And this last one, he pulled in like 2 5-pounders during the video, and he lost another one at the boat. He actually had it in the net, and it jumped out of the net, spit his lure, and that one was double digits. So yeah, those guys are really good. They show what they're using, how they do it, and things like that. And I collaborate with them quite a bit. Shane Flint has just been a wealth of knowledge for me. So yeah, he's really good. He's another guy that you guys really might want to have on your channel because he does some really good stuff. But about myself, let's go from there. I grew up in the state of Maine, so it was native brook trout in these tiny streams that are as wide as a table. I started out just using basically worms and a hook. Then I switched to different tactics. I went to fly fishing, tied my own flies, and then boom, I joined the Navy. So I did my time in the Navy, didn't fish hardly at all. The only time I fished is when I got stationed down in Key West, Florida. And you have to fish down there.
That's not a bad place to get stationed.
Well, it's not, but after about 6 months, you realize that you're on a 3 by 5 mile island, and there's not a whole lot there. The fishing was amazing. Everything from tarpon to yellowfin snapper to mutton / mangrove snapper. It was a blast. Used to go out and catch cobia and grouper out there on the reefs. So yeah, that was good fishing there. I ended up getting stationed back in Virginia, stopped fishing again, got out of the Navy. Now I work at the Pentagon, and I support them. I've been doing the same job for 20 years, and I just really got back into fishing the last 4 to 5 years. Started out fishing a local Rappahannock here because I found out they were smallmouth. So why not go back to what I'm used to? I went up there and just started crushing smallmouth bass in the Rappahannock, and then took a couple trips out, rented a John boat at some of these reservoirs, went out there, got hooked on. I'd never caught a largemouth bass until I moved here.
Really?
It's always been smallmouth. So I jump on these reservoirs and I start using smallmouth tactics, essentially Ned rig. And I was catching fish. Well, then I started watching videos and talking to different people and doing different things. And, now you can see the wall behind me. I'm big into largemouth. I still go up on the Rappahannock. Weather like this, the water comes up. You got to leave it alone. You got to wait until that water settles back down. But one unique thing is on the Rappahannock, there's a group and it's called, oh, you still got me?
We got you. We're here.
Okay. It's called Friends of the Rappahannock. And a local Boy Scout troop actually built it's a live broadcast webcam so that you can see the water level in the Rappahannock. So that is really, you can actually look at it and see if the water is really muddy, whether it's clear, how high it is, what the flow is. And that's just a great tool. I wish more people did that. Last year on the reservoirs here, they lowered the water so much that a guy on a John boat could not get in the water. It was kayaks and it was people like me with my little bass raider, we could get in, but guys in John boats or bigger bass boats, they couldn't get in. So essentially it ended up where it was like probably 2 months of fishing for me that a lot of other guys couldn't go and do because the water level was so low. But they put in a new ramp. They did some more stuff at Lake Mooney, so that's a little bit easier there, but it's still real shallow where they have the ramp.
So Marty, I know we're going to have you on
Yeah.
the podcast too.
Yeah.
And spoilers, guys, we're going to have him on the podcast, and we're really going to get into the meat and potatoes of the fisheries down there. But what I really want to know, like, what got you into YouTube? What I want to know about your journey. Like, how did you come to the point that you're going to try to become a YouTube star?
Well, first of all, I'm not going to be a star. What I was doing was I started going to these local fishing shows, like the one that you're at right now. And I met some great people and saw what they were doing. And I thought to myself, someone needs to get this information out there, very much like you want to do. And you and I talked, and there's so many local guys that make soft plastics and hard baits and spinner baits and crankbait, all this stuff. And my big thing is this: you look at my wall, and I tell people on my YouTube video, if I want a particular color that is not made by Strike King or all these guys back here, I can call a local guy and he will make it. And the proof is sitting right here in front of me. I got some things to show you just so you can see the comparison. I mean, it's unbelievable. Let me grab this one right here. There we go. Sorry about that. All right, look. This is a perfect example of what I talk about. This here, that's a Z-Man razor shads. Okay. It's a great bait. It's a great trailer for chatterbaits. Obviously, Z-Man makes the chatterbaits. But then I turn around and there's a guy called Nova Lure Company, and that's his bait. All right. So, I mean, we all know Z-Man and what they do, but really, if I called Matt from Nova Lure Company and said, "Hey, I really like the red, but I want it darker," he's going to pour it for me. I sent you a whole list in an email, but it's just things that we can do. I got a local guy, Dak Bates. He pours these beavers. Yeah. There's a little bit of a size difference here, but this one right here is Big Bite Baits. This here is Nova Lure, not Nova, but Dak Baits. They'll do whatever you want.
Yeah, and not to cut you off, but that's something, Jared, with your business too. It's like there's a relationship that you can have when you support your local businesses that you don't get from Amazon,
Correct.
You don't get from Walmart or
Correct.
Bass Pro Shop. And so, yeah, every now and then there's a bait that no one else can duplicate. But for the most part, if you can support somebody local, especially with supply chains the way they are, you might not be able to get, a Z-Man product, but you can go to your local guy and support him and keep him in business because he's hurting right now.
Correct. And you're right, Marty. And really, like when you're showing those, it's as much profile as anything. There's a lot of other factors go into it. Scent, their plastic that they're using. There's a lot of things, but when you get to profile, like you're saying, like there's a lot of we get stuck on a name brand. That's branding and a name, and yes, it'll catch fish. But to his point, like being in a bait and tackle shop, we got 4,000 square foot of nothing but fishing, and it's like that everybody's got their go-to confident bait, and they swear by that color and that bait and that size, but it's 20 different things for everybody. So it's we're naive to think we're going to lock into one thing. So I agree with you 100% to try to support local, and it'll still catch fish, to your point.
Oh yeah. Just last weekend I fished a tournament with the Outcast Bass Club of Virginia. Myself and my buddy David, who runs Dak Baits, we finished fourth, our very first tournament, and we ended up using drop shot with his trick worm in a grape with red flake, and I mean, we caught 17 bass. The next highest amount of bass was 6 that someone else caught. Now they were bigger, so they won, but they caught 6 fish. We caught 17. So, culling 12 fish to get our best 5 using this one bait. And I wish I had him with me because I'm out. But it works. So, look at your local bait companies. And like I said, I got a whole list for you, Thomas, and I sent that to you in an email, but I'll pull up the links so that you can post all the links to these local guys. As a matter of fact, you're going to have Derek and Daniel on. I talked to Derek, I think Friday, and he's going to come on and do an interview with me on my YouTube channel. He's there right now. Obviously, you're going to have me guest.
Yeah.
But all hand-painted crankbaits and whopper ploppers and things like that. And they actually did a specific bait for that high school, the Indians. I think their colors are orange, white, and blue. He did a specific paint job on them just for that, with their with their logo on the side of it. So just kind of a novelty thing. But when a privately owned small business bait company is willing to do something like that, that just shows you what they would be willing to do for an individual. And I think that's just fantastic.
No, absolutely. And guys, then on the replay, I'm going to link in the episode description all the bait companies we talked about, the links that he was talking about. For the live stream, I can't do that, but once I re-upload it and you want to watch it again, it'll all be there. All the baits, all the companies will be there available to you. But I have a list right up here. Did you just want to start going through some of these?
Sure. I got the list here, I think, in the exact order that I sent it to you. The Fisherman's Attic, I believe, is or maybe I might have started with Funk.
That's right.
Funk Buster Baits.
You're correct. Fisherman's Attic.
Okay, Fisherman's Attic. So they were at the last 2 shows that I went to, and for the beginning fishermen, they are a great group of people to contact. They have used fishing rods and reels that they have refurbished and redone. You can get them at a good price, and there's quality stuff there. I mean, people can't afford to go out and buy, what is it, K-Sac, or all these different big name rods and reels. But man, used stuff that has been refurbished, you can get it at a good price. Fisherman's Attic is a great place to go. Funk Buster Baits. That's another one. They make spinner baits and buzz baits and all that type of chatter. They have their own chatter baits. DAC baits, I've already mentioned them once. Right now, he just, and it's great, he just received a $500 order from a place called Catfish Kelly's Country Store. And I believe that's in the King George area here by Fredericksburg. I got to get out there because what I got told is they feature primarily local bait companies.
Oh, wow.
So I got to get out there and check that out. Nova Lure Company, a gentleman named Matt. I had him on my last video showing a bunch of stuff that he does. And I mean, he does everything from hard baits to soft plastic, pours his own net heads. And really, some of his baits are just absolutely beautiful. Really crisp, really clean. So that's a good one. Drag Set Fishing. He is 16 years old.
Wow.
And he decided to do this.
Awesome.
That's cool.
And look at this. I mean, that's his packaging right there.
For a 16-year-old, that's pretty awesome.
I tell you what, and he's a great kid.
Where's
Look
he
at
out
that.
of?
He's somewhere here in Northern Virginia. I think he's up in the Woodbridge area, maybe.
Yeah, that's great.
But look at that bait. I mean, look at how clean that is. It is. It's and he does some really nice stuff. So again, a 16-year-old kid doing this because he just wants to. It gave him something to do during COVID. That's when he started. and he's been at both of the shows that I've been to. The next one is Crunk's Crankbaits. Yeah, unreal. He does a lot of neat stuff like this. And I mean, this is good quality stuff.
Yeah, that's
This
really
is
good quality.
this is one of my favorites right here. Check that out.
Oh my goodness.
That's a beautiful bait, and I've been throwing this, and I got teeth marks on it already. All right. Yeah, this is Nova Lure Company. This is one of their jerk baits that they pour, and it's a very translucent one. I really like that. Yeah, I got to learn to hold it up to the camera, right? There you go. And
that looks really good. And guys, let us know in the comments section if you have any questions. Please feel free, put them in the comments. I'll try to get to them so we can have Marty answer them for you.
I like that chartreuse belly.
Yeah, that chartreuse belly is really cool.
And that's from Nova Lure Company also.
It's so funny when you talk about like those local lures. Like that is really the genre of big swim baits. It wasn't big ones. It was people that would mold either the carcass of a trout, spray paint it, get the details.
And honestly, sometimes no two are alike.
Yeah.
A lot of times people want that. You want it to look exactly like exact colors, But in that industry you're talking about, it can be close, but sometimes it's those unique differences. And you look at fish. You pull fish out of the water.
Everyone's
no
different.
two fish are going to look
Everyone's
exactly
different,
like
yeah.
either. So.
And like especially with like jigs, like how many guys have like a specific jig?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh wow!
Look at that.
Huh.
That's just a lipless. And I picked up a lot of stuff from these local guys, and I just love them. There you go for up on the Potomac catching them smallmouth.
That's a good color.
That one's a
Who's
really
making
good
that
color.
one?
Who made that one? I think that was this was Crunk's Customs. Crunk's Crankbaits. Yeah.
I like it.
No, I really like that color. That's really, really cool.
And I will tell you, notice on there too, the red hook in the front and the black in the back. One thing I've learned working at Jake's, those minnows, right before they die or as they die, they bleed out. And that blood is right on their bellies. And then their gill plate up here, they'll be red.
Really?
And blood. And I can post pictures later, but I think when you see those red hooks or any type of red in there, sometimes that will mimic that dying minnow or dying shad that's easy prey for the fish.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about red hooks, Marty?
Red hooks, what do you think? I add them all the time. Even when I'm fishing drop shot, I fish the Gamakatsu red hooks. Really, that's all I use. I will use a red hook until there's no more red on it.
Why do you use
and
red?
then I'll switch it out. It just seems to attract the fish more. I've tried, fishing with buddies in my own boat. One will fish a non-red hook. I'll fish a red hook, same bait. I seem to get hit more. It might be because I'm holding my mouth right, but I just, for some reason, I think that red, especially when it's a little bit shiny and you're dropping it down there, I think it gives a little bit different flash with that red, and they just seem to take it more.
I 100% agree with you there. And we do have some questions. Okay, so all right, Boogie Crush. We got question from Marty. I am very into jig fishing. Is there any local company who makes flipping pitching jigs you would suggest? Wait, thank you, bud. That is a great question.
Yeah, MES Lures is one. And depending on where you're at, I met another guy that has his own company, but he doesn't ship. He's like, yeah, if you want something, you got to come to my house. And I was like, well, okay, that's going to be kind of hard. But it's Moneymaker Jigs. And I'll put this on too. It's Moneymaker Jigs, Barry Cobb out of Chesterville, MES Baits.
Got it.
They do a good job. MES Baits also came up with their own blade bait, or like we call chatterbait, and they do spinner baits. And obviously, you got companies like Deep Creek. I mean, Deep Creek lures. If you don't have any Deep Creek lures sitting around in your tackle box or soft plastic stuff, you need to check them out. I mean, they really put out some nice stuff. Yeah, I think that's Deep Creek right there.
Oh, wow.
That was when they started earlier. And just for a little bit of tackle talk, I'll tell you what. You see the red flake in that?
Oh,
That is
nice.
unreal. And it is a big bait. But I'm thinking I'm going to rig this weightless, no weight, almost like Texas rig, but without the weight. And when those bass start spawning, I'm pitching this right onto the bank, and I'm dragging it across and let that thing skip across the top and drop down by those beds. I think this is just going to kill them.
Yeah.
Right there.
That's a beautiful color.
I remember the garlic scent too. Deep Creek is known for that really strong garlic scent.
Yep. This is this right here is called the DC Super Razor Beetle Watermelon Slice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's a real good bait. I'm looking forward to pitching that when they're on the beds.
So if you had one color for a soft plastic this time of year, what would you use?
Honestly, a lot of times you would think red, but I'll tell you what, this is a grape with some blue and red flake in it. Granted, this is KVD, but my buddy also makes them.
Oh, that's a good blue, actually.
It's a trick worm. The blue flake in there is really something else, but it's more of a grape jelly color.
Mm-hmm.
We did great with that.
Grape worm, man, that's old school.
But grape works great on the Tyler Potomac too.
I love purple.
Now, the other soft plastic I'll be throwing is a bubble gum. You know, the Yum bubble gum color as a floating worm. And then the other thing I use is like for drop shot, the trick shot worms from Z-Man in the twilight color. And for some reason, I used that all year last year because I figured out everyone's out there throwing green pumpkin, black and blue, the standard go-to colors. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to throw something different. So I started throwing this twilight color, which is a pink and purple. I got it right here. It's a pink and purple bait. And I killed him last year. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Obviously Z-Man, but look at that.
That's almost like Robo Worm. Aaron Magic?
Yeah, or Margarita.
Yes,
is another one that's close to it. Yeah. But with the Z-Man, obviously throwing it on a drop shot, the unique thing with the Z-Man is that floats. So if you're using a Robo Worm or one of those other baits, you're gonna cast that out and that bait is gonna sink. So you're gonna get a nose down profile. It's gonna sink. But Z-Man, that bait sits up on your line above your weight and doesn't sink. So I think the Z-Man with this, the floating worms, it stays in the strike zone a whole lot longer than your other conventional plastics. That's just my opinion. But yeah, that's honestly last year, this was it. Z-Man trick shots in that color. I crushed them last year.
Yeah, that Margarita or Morning Dawn color, guys, is amazing, especially for like spotted bass. For you guys that are located down close to Kerr Reservoir, Gaston, where you have a good spotted bass fishery, that color for some reason on a drop shot or a shaky head Ned rig, dude, it kills them. They love that color. And then, guys, again, let me know in the episode description, in chat, are there any questions for Marty while we have him on here? Do you guys have any questions for me or Jared? Also, if you guys could do us a huge favor, like this live stream and share it to your channel. The more we grow, the more people we can have on the show.
I want to show you real quick too, Marty, back to the red hooks. I'm going to show it on the screen here. Yeah, that's a dead minnow that we pulled out of the minnow tank just to show that on the belly. And I got one more picture, well, a couple more pictures, but this same thing, they bleed out. See if we can find one more. And yeah, Thomas will throw it on there. But yeah, they definitely, and I think there's something to that red hook. I don't think it's just something random. I think it has to do with
And we do have, let's see, I do have one question here. I don't know who this is from. This must have been missed. Travis says, I talked with a buddy about smallmouth being found in Yellowstone. How bad do the smallies affect the trout systems? You want to take this?
Sure, I can answer this. Being from Maine, I had dedicated trout systems and dedicated smallmouth places. The majority of the time, they're not going to cohabitate. The majority of the time, it's either going to be trout or it's going to be smallmouth. They don't cohabitate very well together. If they're in the same river or body of water, not so much a lake, because that gets a little tough. I have seen good cohabitation in some of the lakes in Maine where you have lake trout and landlocked salmon, but you also have smallmouth bass. But in river systems, typically you have to really move upstream into fast water and way up to get the trout. The smallmouth bass typically like to have areas where they can slow down during the spawn, because that's the thing. Trout will spawn in really fast water where smallmouth need to make a bed. So if you think of that, that'll tell you the cohabitation between the two is actually separated. And you can find that line if you investigate your body of water. And you can actually see where that cutoff is, or there might be a small area where they're merged together, but usually they're pretty far apart, in my honest opinion.
Yeah,
That's
and
what I think.
Travis, all I can add to that is just from my swim bait experience. If that's really, I got really big into the big swim baits. Trout, generally speaking, trout, smallmouth, and largemouth, their dynamic is trout become a forage species once they get big enough. And trout, generally speaking, are pelagic. So what you'll end up really having is the trout won't be necessarily affected. It's kind of like what you hear with like the muskie population in the rivers. The muskie are going to just eat all the smallmouth, and then there'll be none left. That's not true. So if you're saying that the smallmouth are going to just kill off the trout population, that's not going to happen really. And the other thing that'll happen too, like on a largemouth fishery, is you're going to get some of the biggest largemouth of your life. We see that up around ponds here where the trout are constantly stocked. If you're not throwing a massive trout swim bait, you're not going to get bit by anything, because those largemouth and those smallmouth, those bigger ones get smart and they know that this is a high protein meal. So, hopefully all of us kind of answered your question here. And I do have Jared's share this real quick with you guys. Here we go. So this is Jared. You want to take it away here?
Yeah. So I was saying before, like the red hooks. Working the bait and tackle shop, I learned a lot from customers, and then just the minnow tank, as we're giving out minnows and stuff as they die. The dead minnows a lot of times will bleed out, and they're either the gill plate or on the underside. And I just put one next to a Lucky Craft to kind of see, and this is why they're putting that out there, but you can see a natural, bait fish imitation. And another thing too on that,
Good
not
color,
only the color, but like a wacky worm, it's interesting to watch these minnows die in a minnow tank. Right before they start dying, they'll lose their equilibrium. They'll get on their side. They're no longer upright, and they start like fluttering to look exactly like a wacky style, wacky worm type of presentation. And they're real erratic too. Think about, I know you've been doing some podcast on the soft jerk bait, type thing, and that, just that kind of pause and die, like that's to a fish that needs to eat. That's an easy catch, easy food, source.
And what's crazy is too, depending on the body of water you're in, like what big companies have to do is a generic kind of like a flavor of what they're like. But if you go down to the body of water, a crayfish in different bodies of water will have different colorations. A bluegill will, a trout will. And so if you go look at Z-Man, what they're trying to do is like, does this color work for the most of the time, but not all the time?
Right. And I will say too, Marty, to your point about the bait manufacturers, the local guys, you're so right. We've got some in our shop, and they're going to match. Roger Fuller, for example, he goes and catches the crayfish out of the Shenandoah River, out of the Potomac in this area. He gets that crayfish, and then he mimics his hair jigs off of that crayfish that came out of that body of water. You can't find that from Z-Man or anybody else. It is as natural and real as you can get based on that area, to your point. And so
I tell you what, you mentioned hair jigs, okay? When I lived in Maine, and even when I went back, I was in the Navy, I went back and I'd fish anytime I go to Maine. But I'll tell you what, Z-Man does their micro jigs and it's a plastic skirt, okay. But I'll tell you what, if I could find someone that would tie deer hair jigs with that, that Ned style head, if I can find someone that'll do that, that would be my go-to for smallmouth.
We can get them to you.
Yeah, a deer hair jig on a Ned head is exactly what I want, but it has to be hand tied. And I was actually thinking about, going and buying some fly tying stuff and making them myself for myself. But
You
if
send
I
me
can,
a picture of what you want, we can make it happen.
okay,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, I being a former fly tyer, I know the stuff is out there to get, and I'm just really surprised that I haven't seen smallmouth anglers really keying in on those deer hair jigs.
I think they are. I just don't
yeah.
think they're talking about it.
Yeah. So, when I used to fly fish for smallmouth, the best fly was called a muddler minnow.
Yep.
And if you look at that, that is a deer hair fly. And you could add a little bit of color to it and things like that. It mimics a crayfish. And I just think the deer hair jig and the way that moves in the water, especially like you get a deer hair jig, you dip the tips red, you don't even need a trailer. And that's what I used to fish with. I can't find them down here.
I can send you one or show you one, send you one. This is kind of one I've tied for one of our anglers, and he just loves it. He's fishing the river. He swears by it. No, you're exactly right. The hair, and to your point, I've always said too, we talk about being a hybrid, and if you're a fly fisherman, hair, natural hair, deer hair, marabou, it's not just for a fly fisherman. And what has happened for some hybrid guys is they've taken that same tactic and put it on, like you say, a Ned hook, and throw that out there, and it's dynamite. I mean, Seth Fighter on the circuit, he's throwing hair jigs, and so it works.
Your deer hair is actually hollow.
That's correct.
So, if you use a long enough piece on a jig,
that's right,
and you tie it, as you bring that string down, the short ends are going to flare out. And if you look at Z-Man, that's exactly what they tried to do. But they're using plastic instead of the real hair. If I can find someone, I like the natural deer hair, and then you dip the tips in a little bit of red dye. It's fantastic. You don't even need a trailer. It just does the job.
Now Roger's putting his deer. He's doing a deer hair about a 2 3/4 inch, and it's on a archy head is what he's doing. An archy head with a weed guard, and it's pretty solid. And to your point, guys in our area on the Shenandoah, that hair jig is tubes and
Aces.
hair jigs are
Aces.
probably the top two. Yep.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
we got a question here. If you guys want
Sure.
to make sure we answer this here. Boogie, again, question for all three of you. I'm strictly a bank angler. So if there's tips or advice you have for the bank anglers, I have a good assortment of shallow water lures, but is there any you suggest? So who wants to go first?
I can go first.
I'll
go first. All right. So I've gotten the same question on my YouTube channel, and I'm actually going to go and take some video of different shore areas, because it really depends on what you're looking at. You have to be able to read the water. If you see, grass growing out 30 feet out from the bank, that's going to restrict what you can do. But honestly, for me, the first thing I'd throw from the bank is a wacky worm. Really, it gives you versatility. It sinks slow. When you start hitting the grass, you can jerk it out of the grass, and that's when you're going to get your strikes. So I think from a bank, a wacky worm, or maybe even, Nico rigged, will just give you the versatility you need to fish from the bank. If you want to start throwing lures and things like that, Texas rigs or shallow running crankbaits, depending on where the weeds are. I know a lot of guys that throw square bill crankbaits from the bank on, this structured area where there's rocks and things like that, and they have a lot of success. But for me, it would be wacky worm first thing, And if you watch my second video, I actually show a wacky rig tip where I use 2 O-rings on a worm so that you can save your baits. Okay. I have that tip on my video go and watch it. You can skip to that part. I don't care. I'm not in it for the views or anything like that. Just go and find where I start talking about a wacky worm. And for you bank anglers, wacky worm with the trick that I show, you're going to have success. That's what I'd throw. What about you guys?
I would start with a Ned rig, like you were saying earlier, a Ned rig that can be fished on the bottom, slow pop it, drag it, and then also before you finish with that, go ahead and swim it, like slow roll it is an interesting technique that tends to work. And then the other thing would be just a little swim bait, maybe a 3-inch swim bait and a Kitech and a shockwave, missile shockwave. I probably had one of my biggest, not my biggest, but 4+ pound smallmouth on the bank with a 3-inch swim jig. And this time of year too, interesting thing on that, we always think fish is slow, and you can drag that along the bottom, nose down, tail up. But at the same time, it's that old adage of how do the fish want it, and don't be afraid to slow roll it. It's just enough so the tail is getting some swing in it. It hit it on a faster retrieve rather than slow retrieve. So just, I think those two things, I always look at bottom of the water column, middle of the water column, something that you can work both things.
I 100% agree with that. I mean, look, this is a loaded question, so any more intel on it would be great. I did a video of my top 5 bank baits this time of year, and one thing I talked about there is it depends on the pond that you're doing, let's say, because if you have generically a pond has a muddy bottom, so that eliminates a lot of baits that like a crankbait this time of year. Well, if you're fishing most farm ponds around here, there's no point in fishing a crankbait because you're going to bog it down in the mud and the leaves. So it really is depending on the pond. So instead of baits, I'm going to go down the rabbit hole of and if you guys want me to do a live stream specifically on bank fishing where I just basically rant for 3 hours on it, let me know in the comments below. Start Googling the way Japanese anglers approach their lakes. That's what got me so good at it, because guess what? They have 4 bodies of water in that country. And so what happens is those fish get very educated. And so it's not just the baits, but it's your tackle and it's your line size and it's your hook size, because those fish have seen everything. That 4.5 pounder I caught from Wilkinson Lake, the reason I caught him, I had to downsize to 4-pound main leader to actually catch him, because if I was at 6, I couldn't get bit. But for some reason I went to 4, it made that difference. So a lot of times it's not just the bait. A wacky worm will work great, but then check all the other tackle. Are you going light enough?
Right. Yeah.
Those fish get really educated too. And that's why you'll see guys, and you'll see them when you go to trout ponds. Oh, he caught a bass. Well, why did he catch that bass? Well, if you're in trout gear, you're generally fishing 2 to 4 pound line and a smaller bait. That's the nested approach. So if you go to your pond or whatever, I challenge you to do that. Try to go down to 4, 5, maybe 2 pound test, a small Kitech swim bait, a little trout magnet, a super small Ned head. You will get bit with that, and you'll be shocked when you get used to that equipment, how big of a fish you can catch when you learn how to play them. So, hopefully that answers your question. That's a great, great question.
Yeah, it is. And you mentioned the light tackle. I'm a finesse guy. I used to fish in Maine with 2 pound test and catch smallmouth all day. Okay. Yeah, it's super light. That's because you're fishing in such crystal clear water. Where I fished in Maine, I could look down and see boulders 30 feet down in the water. So that's crystal clear. Okay. So 2 pound test, you had to go with it because otherwise your line is just visible to everybody. What I use typically right now for all my finesse rigs, I use either a 6 or an 8 pound cigar and Vizex, and then for my bait casters, I'm only at 12 pounds. That's all I throw. I like the light line. I think it's when you start getting into the technical stuff about your line and how it affects the baits and everything, for the normal guy, look, I'm not gonna have 10 different rods rigged with different line to fish different conditions. You're going to have one rod, one reel. So what is your best bet? Okay. My best bet for me is a bait caster with 12-pound fluorocarbon. My spinning rods with either 6 to 8 pound test. You know, depending on what you have, the lighter line that you can be comfortable with is the better line. That's what I believe.
Yeah, and I'll double that. Like the lighter the line you go, guys, the more bites you're going to get. And Aaron Martin, who is so cool, God rest his soul, he did an interview where he said, the lighter you go, the more bites you get, but the more you're going to break off. So finding that sweet spot of you're going to get enough bites, but you're also going to actually land those.
There you go. It's 4-pound test with a Ned rig right there. That's what I use on the Rappahannock for smallmouth.
Now, do you go braid to leader, or do you go straight?
No, straight fluorocarbon.
Okay.
This is tinted green. This is actually the one that I use in the water when it's a little stained. And then I have another one that's just as small. This is a 5-foot rod.
Wow.
And it's, you know, it's light tackle. That's what I use in the Rappahannock for smallmouth. I'm not afraid. I'm used to using really light line. If you're not used to that, I'd stay in that 8-pound test range, honestly.
And so, guys, before we let him go, please, guys, ask any more questions in the comment section so we can make sure we can get this fantastic guy to answer them for you. And then, again, follow him on YouTube. Do you have a website or anything else that we can plug for you besides YouTube channel?
No, not yet. I got to get the Instagram and the Twitter things going yet. Yeah, look, I'm old, okay? So I'm not all that tech savvy crap, you know?
I'm with you.
I'm just, you know, I'm being really nice on this video because you know, I'm a sailor. I got a mouth like a sailor, okay? So yes, I cuss and all that. I have to be careful with that. I don't want to offend anyone, but you know, I'm also the old guy that's, if I offend you, well, okay, sorry. You know, hey, one other bait company I want to mention before I go is Gray Goat Lures. And there's a guy named Al, and they make spinner baits. And I'll tell you what, custom spinner baits, but they have a different way of doing the skirt where it actually flares out more away from the spinner bait. It's very unique the way they do it. And when I did my video where I was walking around the show, I actually feature him in a portion when I was walking around the show. Great looking stuff, all handmade. And yeah, I think if you talk to Al from Gray Ghost Lures, he'll hook you up with some really nice spinner baits.
That's awesome. And again, guys, when I re-upload this live stream, I'm going to have a link to all the companies Marty has been talking about, as well as a link to his channel if you guys didn't find it already. And again, hit the like button. Please share this video on your Facebook or whatever social media outlet you have. The bigger this is, the more guests we can have on. We can start getting more content out there to really just promote everyone in this area, regardless of whatever you try to catch. Let's see. Okay, questions here. Let's see. Got one more here. Yeah, BFS. Okay, so guys, if you don't know what that is, BFS, that's bait caster flipping system or finesse system, bait caster finesse system. That was, again, a Japanese thing that came over here where they would catch their trout and their bass on basically a bait caster set up for trout that can handle 1, 2, 3, 4 pound tests. And I honestly think that is going to be the wave of the future, because usually what happens in Japan, usually it starts in California, then it comes over here, because we have more and more anglers thanks to COVID. We have more anglers in the system now, and these fish are more pressured. So I think the idea of a guy winning with a big broomstick and 60-pound braid, just one rod, I think that's going away, especially look at the Bassmaster Classic. There was Christy was even laughing about, I didn't think I'd win this thing with a fairy wand in my hand.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy, how this is coming back around, where when I was a kid and I did a little bit of high school fishing, they would laugh at you if you just used a spinning rod.
Yeah.
You had to know how to use a bait caster.
Yeah, the big power fishermen, they're resistant to it, but they realize if they want to catch a check, they got to pick up, that spinning rod, because otherwise it's not. When you can only not catch fish so long before you got to make a change, and sometimes that's what it is. Take one of that lighter stuff.
And that really helps kids in this area, especially. So we're here, guys, supporting the Berkeley Springs High School fishing team. If you're in the Shenandoah and the Upper Potomac, you're used to fishing those spinning rods, and
Right.
you see these anglers going to these other lakes, and they're doing success.
Correct.
Very successful. Jeremy.
And I know you've talked too about down to like a smaller. I remember a while back when you talked to the youth about smaller crankbaits that can be thrown on a spinning rod.
Yep.
Smaller jerkbaits can be thrown on a spinning rod. All your plastic, your Ned rigs, like spinning rod is a good versatile. And talking about bank fishing too, you're not carrying 10, 15 rods to the bank. So a good spinning rod setup, you can fish pretty much everything you need to.
Yeah.
And get by and catch fish.
You can catch fish, and then Boogie, just to, like another add to that is like, I think you guys, if you want to be a well-rounded angler, absolutely learn the bait caster, but you don't need it. I started fishing saltwater, and what I didn't understand is like I could wrangle a tuna or a shark with a spinning reel, but then bass fishermen are like, well, you can't throw heavy line or like winch in a bass on spinning tackle. It's like, well, that doesn't make sense, because then when I go striper fishing and I catch a 30-pound striper, I have proper gear for it.
Right.
And so it's a cultural thing more than the tackle. So just if you can't find a spinning rod to throw heavier stuff, look in the saltwater department. When I won the $6,000 fishing an ABA, I was using a lipless bait, but I was using an inshore spinning rod combo because I could get more distance. You try to bomb cast a lipless on a spinning reel combo, you can throw 3 football fields away. And so the pressure's gone. And that's the thing spinning tackle gives you, is you can outcast any bait caster on the planet. You see this a lot with like Lake Murray. When you do the blueback, you can sit on that point, and wherever they come up, man, you can just launch and get to them. So, hopefully that helps you guys out.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, with a spinning rod, some of the things you can do and really bomb some casts is using like a Little George. Are you familiar with that? Okay. All right. Sorry, I got my tackle box in my lap.
You're good.
Here. All right. Show you what I'm talking about here. And it is a way to finesse fish, but you're using a much heavier bait. But you want to make these long casts. That is
Oh wow.
Oh, okay.
a Little George. Actually, 6 Cents makes these. And this is all lead. This whole body is metal. And I'll tell you what, you can chuck this a country mile with a spinning rod. And what I like to do is I'll tuck that spinning rod into my belly, and I'll take my hand and hold it on the line as I'm reeling, because sometimes you'll get really subtle bumps. And with only having one treble, you feel that subtle bump, you stop, and it starts to fall, and that's when you'll get the hit. And I use spinning tackle on it. I have yet to throw that on a bait caster because I want to feel that subtle little bump, and then I stop. It drops, and they grab it. Okay, so and a lot of times that's a predatory thing. Is sometimes bass will just swipe at something to kind of knock it down a little bit, and then they'll grab it. So that's the other trick people always talk about. Let that bait fall, jerk it, let it fall, especially with a chatterbait. A lot of people just constantly reel it in. Don't do that. Reel it in, stop. Turn it a couple fast times, stop. A lot of times you'll get those hits on the fall. Okay.
Marty, thank you so much. Again, guys, please Rippin' Lips with Marty Lawson. Like and subscribe to his YouTube channel. We are going to be having him back on in the future. Hopefully, not too soon. Off in the future, talking about all the fishing opportunities in Fredericksburg area. And then we also talked, a couple days ago. I'm going to try to get down there with him later this year, and we're going to shoot some videos just highlighting that, because again, it's fishing the DMV. That's part of this area. People down in Fredericksburg, they work in the DMV area, guys. So this is all connected. So hopefully we'll be getting that going too. Marty, anything else before we let you go here?
No, you just got to tell me when you're ready to come down, whether or not you want to wade up in the Rappahannock or go catch largemouth over in Hunting Run or Mooney or something like that.
Probably wait on the waiting until May at least.
Come on now, it's I'll tell you, I'm I'm going to be 57 years old here in a couple days, and I dare you to find guys my age jumping around the rocks like I do up on the Rappahannock. I'll challenge anybody. I don't care. I'm a fat old man, and I love doing it because you're catching fish. It's all that matters.
Marty, it's been awesome. Thank you so much for coming on
you.
this morning.
Yeah, thank you. And really, anyone that has questions, if you jump on my YouTube, you don't watch the whole video, I don't care. But if you post a comment, question, or something that you want to see me do or go over, I'd be more than happy to do that. I'm always looking for ideas. I'm on Facebook, just Marty Lawson. Find me, ask me questions. I'll be more than happy. I just want to help people catch fish. That's it.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
All right.
Thank you, Marty.
Thanks,
See you later.
guys.
Thanks,
All right.
Marty.
Appreciate it.
That was Marty Lawson, ripping lips, everybody. That was awesome.
That was good.
That was really good.
More good information. I mean, if you can't listen to these and then
Mhm.
pick up on a name or a bait or whatever, and like
I'm always shocked by
search
that.
it, it's
Always
like,
shocked by that.
something new. You know?
Even the minnow thing, like that's like, it's
Yeah.
like you don't think about that. Like, minnows are different in every lake or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just clicked with that, like those color patterns. Oh, that's different. But it's like, that's Frederick area.
That's right. Yeah.
It's got to be different down there. You're more so your title, you're closer to Chesapeake. Those, like, again, it's just crazy about thinking about that stuff.
Yeah.
So, guys, we're gonna take a little bit break here. This guy has got to drive down to Smith Mountain Lake to hopefully help some kids not freeze to death.
Yeah, hopefully catching fish. So
What's the temperature supposed to be like down there?
I think it's 22 in the morning tomorrow morning at launch, and then it's supposed to warm up to about 50. So it'll be a little tricky in the morning, though, I think, a little cold. But I wanted to say, too, I think we got some guests coming up. We talked to Jeff Green today. He'll be coming up this month. When it'll drop, maybe into April, but we're going to be sitting down with him. Chris Gorsuch, guide on the Susquehanna River. We'll be talking to him. Matt Strike with SB Fishing is on deck too. Not today, but on a future podcast. And then guys like Brian Schmidt, he's coming to the Jake's Bait and Tackle April 23rd.
Yep, we got him coming
prior
up
to
too.
that, we want to get him on a podcast, and we're talking to John Cruz, to get him on. Both those guys fish the Classic, so a lot of good things coming, Thomas.
Yeah, we do.
Can't just thank you enough for your equipment and knowledge, and to bring this digital to us digitally, and just the idea of fishing the DMV, regardless of your age, where you're at in your region. Like we all have the same passion for fishing.
Absolutely.
And to share that, I think has been really cool. So
And thanks to all you guys just showing up, and asking questions. And because again, we cannot make adjustments to the content without you guys telling us what you want to hear.
Correct.
So I know Boogie said I should do an episode just on bank fishing. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Not everyone has a boat or a kayak.
Correct.
Why don't we do that more?
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for giving us feedback, because I want to adapt and get better with this. Because again, I was a kid at one point where I didn't have the information. I knew about Lake Gunnersville, but I didn't know about the ponds around here.
Correct.
And that's so important if you want to get the next generation hooked.
That's correct.
But I think we're going to go to a quick commercial break, guys, and then we'll be back to kind of finish up here. We got about 15, 20 minutes left in this live stream. So, we'll see you shortly. Sorry about that, guys. We're back here. Let's see. Got a couple of questions. So, guys, we're just going to basically a Q&A. If there's anything you'd want to see in the show, talk about. Daniel, good morning. How are you doing, sir? We are going to talk about Jared's tournament coming up, just a little bit like that, pick his brain. And then, yeah, we're going to be going off here. But, yeah, any questions, guys? Let's see. Got here. Sure. Yeah, if you want to grab him real quick, see if he wants to come on. And then we can end it with him. That'd be good. But, yeah. So, Boogie, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm really trying to I hopefully will grow this to the point where we can actually, again, this is kind of what I would like to do eventually, is get this to the point where I can have multiple hosts, multiple people on this show that can actually put content on this channel that's about this area. I want to actually get a catfish guy on, a crappie guy, perch guy. When the summertime hits, we're actually going to do saltwater fishing opportunities in the area from Delaware, Ocean City, Chincoteague, Assateague, Chesapeake Bay. So we're going to do tons of things as this continues to grow. But guys, thank you so much for your support. And again, listen, I want you to email me, comment on my Facebook. I'm actually going to post my email in the comment section here. Or if you are on YouTube, like me on Facebook at Fishing the DMV. Like our Facebook page and message me and try to get a hold of me, and I'll try to answer any questions you want. If you want to come on the show, message me on Facebook at Fishing the DMV Facebook page. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me, and then we can either have you on the show or I can help you guys out any way I can. We're going to do some questions here, Q&A right now. So we'll get up there. And again, if you guys would like your questions answered on anything that has to do with fishing in the area, about our guests, or a topic you'd like me to cover, Boogie had a great thing that we should do an episode. I'm going to do a couple of videos specifically for bank anglers. I'm going to do hopefully a podcast in the future too about bank fishing. So let's look at this right here. Make sure I didn't miss any questions. Best things about Saturday mornings besides rain and 4-inch snow. Yeah, the snow was really bad. Casey, thank you so much, bud, for being on the show and watching us. Really appreciate it. And then, guys, of course, if there's anything you guys would like to see at the show, we might get one more guest on today before we kind of pack it up, because the weather is getting quite bad outside, and I do not want to sleep in the gymnasium. This is our first live stream on location. We did it. This is crazy. I have no background in this, and I'm figuring this stuff out. This is insane. Let's see. We got another question here. Blake says, when the weather is, I might have answered this question. When the weather is bad like this, what is the first lure that you'd go to? So in general, the first lure I would go to if the weather is super bad is a jig. Go with any type of jig possible. Green pumpkin usually is good with any trailer, match it up. I'll get into a video about that later on. But yeah, just a jig of whatever your confidence jig is, fine this time of year. Slow drag it. Now, once the snowstorm is actually there, and the snowstorm is there, you can go with more reactionary baits, generally speaking. But then before that front hits, you want to go with something like that. And again, guys, sorry for the audio quality. I got up at 5 in the morning because of the snowstorm. I got a 2-wheel drive vehicle. I was praying to Jesus. I thought I was going to die on 70, and I forgot the big microphones, but we got backup ones. Let's see what we got here. What about doing a community events later every storm? Yes. So Casey, yeah, we are going to do community events going forward. We're going to do, hopefully at some point, we're going to do meet and greets this summer. We're going to hopefully do live streams just for special fans, like Patreon fans, maybe give them access to other materials at some point. But we're also going to do, excuse me, brain's going a mile a minute because of all the things I actually want to do. But we're also going to try to do live stream fishing at some point, especially when the weather's bad, because I feel like people are going to be watching live streams when it's dark out or when the weather's shit. But when it's 70 degrees and beautiful, no one's actually going to want to come on and actually watch that. Let's get that shifted up here. And we got a new guest on, but we're going to answer one question first before we bring this sucker on. All right. Daniel N says, what baits do you use for stained water? That depends on the time of year, sir, generally speaking. Is the water always stained? That's what's important. So if the fish are generally used to that colored water, so like the tidal Potomac is a great example this time of year, you can get away with baits that are more natural color, which people don't actually know about because the fish are used to that kind of colored water. Now, if you usually have a clearer body of water and then it gets stained up, that's when you're going to have to go with the hot colors and harder vibration. So your fire tigers, your red crawls, colors of that ilk, and then you're going to go with something with a little bit more vibration. You know, the chatterbait really comes to mind. Jason Christie loves throwing a big spinner bait with that big thumping Colorado blade. So generally speaking, hopefully that kind of helps. What are your opinions on this? Got one more question before we bring our next session. What are your opinions on red crawl or crawl-colored baits in ponds? Again, so guys, this is my thing with colors. It depends. I had a kid like 3 live streams ago say, like, you got to pick one color jerkbait. It's like, well, first off, I'm addicted to tackle, so that's not fair. So that's why I spent $1,000 on tackle, and my wife's always mad at me. You don't pick just one color. You know, instead of getting a mega bass, buy a couple of cheaper ones and get a couple of variety. Have at least 3 colors that you're going to the body of water with, so you can change up. But with red crawl baits, what I mean by it depends is what kind of crayfish do you have going on? What's the water clarity like? I would suggest going with a milder crawfish color to start with, and then go with a hotter color. So there are tons of companies that make that super bright orange crayfish color, but they also make that more darker, milder crayfish color. I would suggest having both and let the fish dictate to you. But generally speaking, that's why I don't want to take you down a stray and say it's super, super hot color only, no matter what. It really depends on the water clarity you're dealing with. If it's super stained, hot color. If it's not, go with that more milder color. But then, we got another guest on. So let me get this question here. We got another guest on. Tell everyone about yourself.
Yeah, hey, how are you? So, I'm Derek Charles. I'm with Bent Rod Fishing. We're local. I live in Lake Holiday. My brother lives in Winchester. We do hand-painted custom baits. Here's a few examples of them. The first one we did is actually here for the show. I don't know.
Yeah, how about I hold that for you?
Yeah, there you go.
So, right there, guys.
Yeah, so it's got the Berkeley Springs Indian head logo on it. We did that here for the fundraiser. It's been very popular today, this morning. And then here's a couple other ones. Jerk bait.
I like this color.
Yeah, these are just kind of patterns that we make up ourselves. That's really cool. Here's a blue crawl.
And you know, we actually, guys, we have the right guy on to actually, and I'm gonna resend him these same questions just to kind of get his thoughts on them, because I think we have the right guy to talk about that. So, and we'll get also into your company too. So let's go back with Boogie's question here about red. Like, what are your thoughts on brighter colors? And we're gonna go with that, Boogie, like brighter colors for ponds.
I kind of heard what you said on that, and I kind of agree with that, really. I mean, it really is about having different colors because you never really know. So, being able to switch quickly between baits, see what they're hitting, and then kind of key in on that, and then, just kind of stick with it. And it's, obviously going to change depending on the, the conditions and the weather that day. But, I mean, we sell bright colors, we sell dull colors, because you really have to have some of everything, and just have to, every time you go out, you just have to assess the situation. And obviously there's some general, rules of thumb, but still, in each body of water on each day, you just have to figure it out and then change accordingly.
What are your thoughts on with stained water? If you had to pick 3 colors, guys, because 3 colors, not just one, that you would want to go with to your body of water if you know the water's stained this time of year, what are your 3 favorites?
Darker color. I like darker color in stained water. Anything really, like a lot of blacks, dark browns, greens, dark greens.
Why don't more companies make black? I think
because it doesn't sell fishermen, right?
Interesting.
You do a black bait. It's not bright, it's not shiny. You have to get creative with black. We have one in Midnight Minnow, and we've actually sold quite a bit of it this past week. That is a black and a silver. It's a shallow diving crankbait, but in most cases, black lures, they're not flashy, and the people who know what they're doing and want to catch fish, that's good. But they don't catch fishermen. It's just a funny thing that we say.
That is, I think I heard Jared say that before. It's like, are you trying to catch fish or catch the fisherman? Like, what are you marketing to? And I think that's really true with a lot of the color schemes out there. But then, so like with the dark colors, if you had to pick, are you going to go with like a green pumpkin or a June bug? Like, what would you kind of put it down for the people at home listening?
I like green pumpkin.
Green pumpkin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
And then let's get a couple more questions in here. And actually, while I keep finding the questions, why don't you keep talking about your company?
Yeah, so we're a relatively new company. We've been up and going for our website's been up about 2 or 3 months now. BentRodFishingUSA.com. We have our main inventory that you see, but we also do custom as well. So if you have a specific lure that you're looking for that you can't really find, you can reach out to us. We have a form on our website. You can say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. You can even post pictures of local bait fish that you catch and say, hey, can you do something that matches this bait fish? We'll collaborate on it. We'll find something that works, and then we can do a custom order for you. It could be something like that. It could be something fancy, like this. You put your kid's name on it. We even sell them as keychains. If you want to get something with your kid's name on it, your favorite sports team with a keychain, put it on their bag or whatever. Whatever you want, really. We can definitely do that. So,
do you have actually? You know what, guys? What I'm going to do? I'm going to get a second screen up while I answer your next question here. And why don't you type in your website so we can get it up for them. And then, guys, what we're going to do is I'm just going to live stream the website. That way, I have the link, and I'll put the link into the episode description so you actually can go check out his stuff as well. But yeah, so you guys have any questions about bait colors? This is probably the right guy to actually have on here right now to talk about that. Let me get this on here.
Yeah, so here's the site. So if you want custom, just go up to the top where it says shop, right? And then go down to custom orders. And then name, email, phone number. You can type in what you want. You can upload pictures. If it's a lure that you can't find anymore, maybe one that's discontinued, that was a proven one that for some reason has been discontinued, you can put a picture of the lure. We can recreate that. Or if it's hey, here's a bait fish I caught, or whatever, then we can post that on there. We'll contact you. We'll be back and forth to find something that everyone wants, and then we're good.
Again, guys, that's Bent Rod Fishing. They're out of the Winchester Lake Holiday area. One question, guys, so what is the best-selling color right now for you, generally speaking?
Red right now.
Is it bright? Is it a certain type of red?
No, red. Okay. I mean, spring. Spring is a very popular red color. Like I said, and we're new. We've only been open for about 3 months now, and red has been the most popular color for us.
Why do you think that is? Just from your side of the window, looking at everything. Why do you think fish like it?
I don't know. I really don't, but they do. And you watch all these videos on YouTube. All these fishermen, red lures in spring, they catch fish, and you go out and you try it, and it works. And I really think that's why it's pushing for us right now. But yeah, it comes into where you fish, obviously, and what you're fishing for. But red is very popular.
And guys, the same. So in Florida, I was watching a long time ago. JT Kinney talked about like a black and blue spinnerbait, and he would dip the blades. And he said the reason you do that is because of the watercolor, the tannic water that they have down there. It creates this really interesting image and silhouette in the water. And so to answer your question generically about colors, that's what you're doing is you're trying to either make it stand out or blend in. And that's based on the type of water you're dealing with. And then that's where the color selection kind of comes into it. So, example, if you've ever been to Florida or Prairie, whatever reservoirs up here in West Virginia, crap. Jared, what's the body of water in West Virginia right over here? Sleepy Creek? Sleepy Creek, thank you, because I don't know shit. Sleepy Creek, tons of vegetation. Water is gin clear, but it has a stain to it, and that's because of the grass. But the water is actually clear. Well, because of that tannic color, that's where that darker colors, the June bugs, the black and blue, it actually creates a really good silhouette of the bait. I personally believe those oranges, when you get in that muddier water, it helps silhouette with all the sediment in the water, and it makes it glow a little bit more. The same reason why a white bait, when there's cloud cover and it's clear, if you've ever seen a white jerk bait in clear water, it has almost a glow hue to it. I think that's what that happens with the orange. So, guys, I hope that kind of answers that question. And then, so if you guys have any more questions, for bent rod fishing, please let us know in the comment section below, and we'll try to get him to answer you. What is your hottest bait right now? Like, is it a jerk bait, crankbait? Like, what is really hot?
Right now, we've actually sold quite a few of the square bills, and there's a candy crawl, which we've sold quite a few of on the site, and then the midnight minnow. We just had a guy order quite a few of those. We've also done some custom orders for some guys up in New England. They were some of our first customers, actually. They reached out to us, and they gave us specifics of what they were looking for. So we did a mock-up of them, and they bought quite a few from us. So another thing too that we hit on is all the materials we use are sourced from American companies, except for the hooks. The hooks are KVD Mustad triple grip, so they're Mustad. So obviously that they're I think a Swedish company, but everything else is sourced from American companies. We like to try to support that where we can.
And where's the midnight crawl?
So the midnight. So go to shallow diving minnows. There you go. Right there, midnight minnow.
Oh wow, dude, that is banging.
Yeah, and it's actually in person. There's a bigger. There's a bigger contrast. Can you grab a midnight minnow from the table? Maybe we may have sold out.
And then guys, this is kind of like this was last minute. We just yanked him in here. We are going to have him back on too. Whether it's going to be a live stream or in person, he'll have a bunch of baits too. Again, as my schedule kind of opens up, Jared's schedule opens up, we're going to have more and more guests on. You guys keep clamoring. I had somebody the other day on my channel say, "Why aren't you shooting a podcast a day? You're insane. I still need to make money or my wife would kill me." Eventually we'll get there, but not yet. So actually here, let me zoom out the screen here. We got one right here.
You can see it's got more of a silver and the black. I don't know. Yeah, you can see it on camera.
Dude, that is sexy. God damn. Yeah, that is stupid though. Simple. Like no one does this for colors. Why the heck is that?
I painted that and immediately thought to myself, we're never going to sell them. Because I know it'll catch fish.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's not going to catch fishermen. It's too simple. But honestly, we've sold more of that than I think any other would get.
That's absolutely stupid.
It has
renewed
my faith in fishermen.
Because it's so crazy. I think like Sixth Sense was the first company that ever came out with a black bait, and it's like it made my brain think like, why don't more people do that? It makes sense if you use it for a jig or a chowder bait, but I think you're right. It just doesn't catch.
Stained water. Those darker silhouettes are what you want.
Oh yeah, like that would wreck on the tidal river.
Yeah.
But
whopper poppers and poppers, anything top water.
Yeah,
we're dark bait.
Mm-hmm.
We're actually getting ready to do a tail splasher or a whopper plopper that we're going to do in a darker color like that. We don't have one yet, and I was talking with Marty Lawson, and he was saying, hey, that's a real popular one, and I was like, you know what? We've been talking about it. We just haven't done it yet. We got to pull the trigger on it. So we're going to be doing one hopefully in the next week or so. We should probably have it up on our website.
That's so cool. What is the craziest color that you've been asked to do lately?
We've been asked to do?
Yeah.
It hasn't been really any crazy colors per se, but just some of the, like the guys up in New England, because I guess some of their bait fish or what they're going for isn't what I'm used to, right? I grew up in Alabama and Florida fishing, and then moved here to Virginia. Never really fished up in those waters. So some of the, it was mainly like a, bone with a dark head and like red eyes and and like a purple stripe on the belly or something like that. I mean, it was something strange but these guys are tournament fishermen, so I gotta trust that they know what they're doing, right? So we're like, sure, we put it together for them and send them a picture, and they're like, that's great, and then he knew somebody, and he said once they start, I mean, obviously they're behind us right now. It's a lot colder up there, but he said in the next month or two they're gonna start doing tournament fishing, so They'll be testing them out.
That's really cool. So what do you guys want to? Oh, we got a question here. Hold on a second. So Boogie, I've noticed that the bluegill pattern on baits, at least for me, the bass seem to not bite as much. Weird, because most of the places I have fished, 98% of them are bluegill in them, but green pumpkin and yellow works. So I'll start with this thing first. I think it's weird because bluegill literally, it's such a, compared to a shad, that pretty much I think a shad is a shad color-wise wherever you go in the continental United States. Bluegill are freaking weird, where every pond, they have a different pattern on them.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, so guys, what got me into colors was I was big when I was 16, 17 in swim baits. And that was literally, I think, where custom painting really was big, because it's about matching the detail. And I know where I had a $100 bluegill made specifically for the small lake near me, and it had to be just like that. I took a picture of it, and ended up catching like a 9.5 pound bass out of there. It's just so weird where it has to be specific to that fishery. I think with bluegill in particular, and maybe trout, I could be wrong, if you want to get the biggest one in your lake fooled. Do you kind of see that with a lot of like bait shops?
And that's why we offer on the custom side of it, where you can take pictures of the bait fish you catch, right? So go to where you're fishing, go to your lakes, go to your rivers, wherever you fish from, catch some of the bluegill bait fish that you have, take pictures. You can do more than one, great. Attach them to that custom order form so we can see it, right? Because like you said, there's so many different variations that, by being able to see what's actually there and match it exactly, then you're going to have a much better chance.
Yeah, guys. And then again, please go to his website, guys. Help promote his products. That's what we're all about. Fishing the DMV is promoting local businesses and helping them grow. You don't have to go give it to Amazon, guys. Just support people that are around. And we got another question here. Derek, do you make flat-sided square bills?
So we don't have any flat-sided square bill blanks yet.
Okay.
That is another thing. Is that Marty? Yeah. He brought that up the other day. I've been looking into finding some flat-sided square bill blanks, but I haven't been able to find it yet. So if I find some, we'll definitely look into.
What do you mean by a blank? Talk about that for idiots like you don't know what you're talking about. What is a blank? Because you see Ottifo in his garage whittling a piece of wood. Is that a blank, or is it like a mold? Or
so a blank can be various things. It could be made of wood. They do, a lot of them are balsa wood. We do all hard plastic blanks. Most of them are clear. I think my brother's going to go grab one. I can show you. They're just clear.
Oh, really? Right? So this is plastic, actually.
Yeah, this is hard plastic.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, they're clear, and then you just paint from there. Most of them start with a white base coat. You base coat it in white, and then you do whatever you do from there. Sometimes you want to do a darker color base coat, depending on what you're trying to go for. We actually have on our, if you follow us on Facebook, we have a couple of videos of actually showing him painting a few of them. You can kind of see the steps.
Let me see if I can even log on to Facebook here. Or, guys, we're on school Wi-Fi, so I might get shut off trying to get on Facebook, but we'll see. So, guys, this is what the blank is. I didn't even – that's really clear. So, there you go. So, this is what the blank looks like. So, this is like the mold, I guess. So, you take this, and from here you can build or paint whatever design you want. Right. That's really cool. That's really cool. Oh, what is he saying? Marty, you got some damn good questions. How about a one-knocker lipless or silent square bill?
Yeah.
Oh my! So if you really want to piss off everyone in the Tidal Potomac, if you can come up with a silent lipless again, since Strike King got rid of theirs, you guys didn't hear that from me. That'd be another thing that would sell a lot too. But that's really cool. Now, why? How do you guys get these? Do you get them in bulk? How does that whole process work?
There's a few different companies. We source all from American companies. A few different, online lure building, companies that we buy from, and it really comes down to some we buy from one, some we buy from another. They don't all carry the same thing, but what you see on our site is just what we've initially decided to go with. Like I said, we're 3 months into this, right? So if you want something, and that can be part of the custom thing too, like the one knocker lipless, we just got those in, but like silent square bills or the flat sided square bills. You can say, hey, can you do it? We'll find it. I had a guy that wanted some spooks. We didn't have spooks, but I found some. I ordered them. They came in. So we're waiting on him just to say what he wants, and we're going to paint him some spooks.
That's cool.
So let us know what you're looking for. Most of the time we can find the blank, and then we'll just go from there.
Okay, that is awesome, guys. And then so the child block is on the internet. So he's going to text me his Facebook page, and I'll put a link to that in the episode description when I re-upload this, and I'll put it in the chat so you can actually go and like him on Facebook.
Fish Bent Rod.
At Fish Bent Rod, okay? And then, let me get another questions here. Let's see. Boogie again, that is awesome. Have you ever fished a straight blank that looks like that would bite straight?
So I've never fished a straight blank, but we have a couple on the website that are more translucent, and we've seen more and more that, maybe the very top will have some color, but most of the side and the bottom will be straight.
It's like a ghost minnow.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. That is, and they'll still charge you a shit ton of money at Megacats for something like that if they don't even paint the thing. Oh my goodness. So what made you guys just because I don't know any of this? So how do you pick between plastic or wood, I guess? Like, say, a balsa crankbait, is that just a different process in general? Is that why you guys decided to go with plastic out of curiosity?
Plastic is finding the plastic blanks is just much easier.
Okay, gotcha.
There are a lot more people that companies that sell those. It just seemed like the natural way for us to go. There is a guy locally, I think, that does some balsa blanks that we were kind of thinking of maybe reaching out to him and maybe offering that as well. We haven't done that yet. Again, 3 months into it, right?
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, we're pretty much with the hard plastic at this point.
And then you have to buy the certain blanks with the certain weights in there. So a one knocker, you have to then go out and buy a one knocker style blank,
right,
to do it. Gotcha. It's like, there you go, guys. So like, understand, like, it's not just like you take one bait and then they completely transform it. There's a huge process of, like, if you want to do a one knocker, you got to order that specifically. If you want to order one with a bunch of different beads, you got to order that specifically too, which is really interesting for the process. Let's see. We got a couple of questions, and then we'll sign off here shortly. Let's see. Add a dot right at the bottom. Yeah. The different color patterns are really important. And what is the one question I
go to the
have?
website and request it. I can put it right on the bottom of this blank. I have it to you next week.
So, guys, like, again, they do custom colors. So go to their website, go to their Facebook page. You can get a custom order from them. So wherever you're at in the country, what I suggest you do, take a picture of your forage that you want. That gives them a better visual, I would assume, for them to be able to do it. This is at least what I do when I made bluegill baits. They would say, like, take a picture of what you want. So just send them a picture of the bait, I think, or the bait fish, and that'd probably help them out the most.
Yes, absolutely.
But but anything before we let you go here?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that's good. And I think we're plan on being on again at some point. Thanks for having us on. I mean, this is great. We're over there helping out the kids. Seems to be pretty good.
No, absolutely. And then, guys, again, in the episode description, we're going to have their website linked and their Facebook page. And then, we got another question from Larry. I showed little George. Would love some local nice paint jobs. Yes. So we got. I think you guys got another customer here. That is awesome. But then again, thank you so much for coming on, bud. And we're gonna have you guys on again for a podcast episode again in the future. But again, guys, please follow him on Facebook. Go to his website. Order some baits. Help support him. And then, so what we're going to do, guys, we're going to have a little bit of a question and answer segment here before I have to tap out and get some homework done. But let's take a look-see at the comment section below. Let's see what kind of questions that we have here. If I missed anything. Boogie, I feel like I got to give you a prize for how many questions that you've asked. Go. So I'm going to have to start. I did not call you Larry again. Marty, did I really call you Larry again? I don't know what the hell is with me besides that. I have gotten no sleep. I don't know why I keep calling you Larry. If I keep doing it, my God. So, oh my goodness. I don't know why that keeps happening there. So I keep calling you freaking Larry, and which is funny because that's my wife's dad's name. I don't know why I call you Larry. So there's some trauma there for some reason that I'm dealing with. Again, guys, if you get married, get counseling because you're going to deal with family. That's a thing. So he laughs, but he knows what's up. Oh, my goodness. Guys, this has been insane. This is the second highest viewed so far live stream we've done, which is insane to me, especially with how crazy it was to get this thing up and running. We are definitely going to do these more and more in the future with these local shows because it's been an absolute it's been a hoot. It's fun to have guests constantly coming in and out. Please let me know again in the comment section. In the comment section below, email me something. What I want you to do is let me know what kind of content you want us to provide. Hopefully in the future for these flea markets, for these shows, we're going to have a station set up and we're going to have a camera crew going around from place to place to be able to show off a lot of the baits. That's kind of like my hope, big picture. But I want to do it right to make sure the quality's there, because to be able to do it and the quality sucks, it doesn't help. So this is stage one, is setting up a booth, and then stage two, hopefully in the future, will be to set this thing up where we can have a camera crew walking around these shows, doing that. But oops, sorry about that. There we go. But then, yeah, Jared, is there anything else that you kind of want to add before we kind of log off here?
No, just Thomas, it's great that you're doing this and providing your equipment and everything.
Knock on wood.
But it is a way to get the information out and knowledge about fishing. And like you said, and we've got plans for bigger and better things, if you will. But just keeping it local. But the fishing industry is so big, and be able to go around to different venues, bring in different people, and just the fishing industry as a whole just everything fishing, basically. And it's like Marty was saying too. I love that mentality of anything that we can do to help the angler catch more fish, bigger fish. If we can do that and bring that to them and sharing that experience, I mean, to me, that's what it's all about.
100%.
And you're providing a platform for that. So, and like you keep saying with the listeners, by all means, and reminder too, just we're listening, we're getting it, we're keeping the notes as far as what people want to hear, who you want on, different things like that. And it just takes time to get to it. I think we'll be here for the long term, so it just kind of settle in, and we'll just continue to listen to the listeners and provide good contact for them.
No, 100%. And then you got to be blasting off.
Well, look, quick thing there. We just they banged it for tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah, they called it off, and they canceled the practice for today. They tried to do north and south for tomorrow. It came from the top down decision. A lot of people are going to be upset or whatever, but sometimes you got to err on the side of caution and safety, and so it looks like the Virginia High School Bassmaster Qualifier 3 at Smith Mountain Lake on Sunday is a no-go. It's off, so just get the word out there. And but there's a fourth qualifier in the Chickahominy, and like we saw from these Berkeley Springs kids here today, it's a year-round thing. Ours goes fall to spring, 4 qualifiers. Boat captains, youth, and then there's a lot of other local tournaments, kayak tournaments.
Yep, we're gonna have
boating
tons
tournaments. There's so much content out there. So, but yeah, I'm not headed south at this point. So
now let's see. Marty had an interesting question. We could try.
That's good point, Marty.
Hold on, Marty. We might try this because since we have some time,
yeah.
we have a little bit of time here.
And I would say too, if
you keep talking,
for people, again, this is an annual event, and so 8th March, you can look for it on Facebook, and it is a good local hometown event.
Perfect. So you're set up.
Okay.
So we're going to try this take 2. Last time we did this at the Bassmaster Classic, but you're set up, so it's not facing you. You just point it, and you can talk. So if you want to walk around and can you hear me up there?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So
we won't be able to hear a listen or anything. Just looking at product.
Yeah, but I can talk to you. So we are going to have Jared run around real quick and kind of show everything off. Thank you, Marty. His name is Marty. I don't know why I got some kind of post-traumatic stress syndrome where I keep calling him Larry. I think
Are you able to hear me, Thomas?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Sweet.
A lot of good local stuff. Local baits. Young anglers. Raffle items.
And then just take your time and go slow with the camera. That way they'll lag so they can make sure they see you okay.
Gotcha. Got backroom baits here. This is a good way, too, for you guys to, if you're looking for local.
Yeah, Marty. The Wi-Fi at this school is not fantastic. It's decent. So yeah, it's going to be a little herky-jerky to walk around with a camera. So we're doing the best we can with what we got, but at least we're able to show off some stuff a little bit better. If there's a particular booth, guys, that you want to see, maybe we can get Jared to kind of walk over there and see it.
That's like their baits and stuff. They've probably got a lot of
Good musky baits.
Gotta go. Thanks for doing what you guys do. Keep it up. Daniel, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate your support, sir. We got to go fishing sometime. Yes.
Cool thing about old school stuff, too.
Oh, those are cool baits.
In the old school stuff, you will not find this anymore. I know a lot of people are looking for the originals, dated stuff.
Oh, those baits are cool.
And again, you can't find this in a lot of places currently today.
Yeah, those videos are cool. Oh, that.
Bent rod, who we spoke to earlier.
Okay, you want to ride too?
Local.
And then Marty, just to let you know, I will try to get a hold of all the vendors that are here so I can post them as well. Nope, that looks really, really cool. So guys, is there any type of vendors you guys want to look for specifically? I think we do have a jig guy here.
What you're trying to do, you can get that little bracket and construction adhesive to the bottom of the kayak, and then you wouldn't have to screw over.
Oh no, as a Jake customer.
What's up?
And guys, if you have any questions for Jared, let me know. Any questions for me that I can answer. Anything you want to specifically see at this show. Again, we were at the Berkeley Springs Fishing Show supporting the local high school fishing team. Backwoods Baits, guys. Like, help them all out. Marty, thank you so much. He's going to also post the vendors. I need to get a better seat because my ass is falling asleep sitting here in this bench chair. And I got to take a leak. On that table, they're going with the see-through plastics on those tables. So you can tell those are the new Mega Lucky Crafts right there, the Invisalign series. Cannot see them. All right. What do we got here? Oh, those are cool.
Be on TV?
Yep, you're on TV. And again, guys, let me know in the comment section below what kind of podcast video series that you want to see. What kind of content do you want us to have on this show again?
The old jitterbug. You cannot beat the jitterbug. Oldie but goodie.
I have never thrown a jitterbug before.
Oh my gosh. I was telling a story earlier. I was on the North Fork of the Shenandoah River, just getting ready. I was wading up to a low water bridge coming out. It was getting dark. I had the old jitterbug on. It was dark. And big bite took me down. I thought it was a big smallmouth, ended up being a 2-foot catfish, but on a jitterbug. Double plopper.
Oh, it's old school. I don't see those anymore.
I like seeing dedication.
That is really cool. Again, guys, a lot of stuff here. They're here all day if you want to come out. Again, we're at Berkeley Springs High School in West Virginia. We're supporting the high school fishing team here. Come on out if you can. I know the weather's bad. You have to fight a Yeti to get here. So be it. Really cool baits of all types. And again, guys, like on a winter day like this, like where would you want to go fishing? If the weather was good right now, you know, type in the comment section below, where would you like to go fishing when the weather gets nicer? I know for me, I cannot wait to be floating like the Conica jig or the Upper Potomac to get in a kayak. I miss that summertime float trips. Those to me are like the memories of a lifetime. That is a beautiful old school jitterbug.
I'm going to tell you a quick story on jitterbug. At ICAST, one of the reps was manufacturer telling us that jitterbug, a gentleman made it out of an old broomstick handle, cut the broomstick handle off, put a spoon on the end of the broomstick handle, and that was the first jitterbug.
Really?
I don't know. I don't remember the year, but I was fascinated by that story.
That's really cool. And then we got one from Marty, not Larry. Caught my biggest smallie on a jiggerbug, 7.2. Good God, Marty. Was that on the Rappahannock? I don't know. I wonder why they don't talk about the jitterbug anymore. That is so interesting to me. So, guys, like that was the show right there. Is there anything in particular that you want to see? I think we got the musky. We got some musky guys here as well. We can actually put the musky guys on as two. Oh, look at those spitter baits.
Marabou.
They look pretty good.
Marabou jigs, hair jigs.
And just hold it on the marabou jigs for a split second. Let the light clear up. There we go. Oh, wow. That's some colors. How many of you guys have actually fished marabou jigs? That is a big crappie.
These heads, if you can find these heads for the river, the slider head, Jeff Little made these for a time. This style head is very good. It's slender. It's got the screw lock. It is great for the river because it'll get you down. You can swim it. You can fish it on the bottom. They don't hang up as easily because of the slender style of the hook, or the weight, I should say. If you get hooked up or if you get hung up, you just pop it, and it'll, in most cases, come out of the being snagged. So that's a great hook. They're hard to find. Here's an example. They're rigging it on a tube.
Oh, that's really cool.
You see how that's a slender weight.
I wonder why people don't make those anymore. That is old school.
It is old school, and they're great too for a swim bait type of deal. I like throwing my swim baits on it because, again, and the way it sits, it'll sit down on the water on the bottom like this. So that's a really great style if you're not familiar with that.
Guys, it's something else. Like it, like that in the comments section. What kind of head do you guys like to use on your Ned rig or your tube there? Lots of great stuff here at the show. Again, any questions before we kind of like end this thing for the evening that you would like us to answer?
These style tube heads too, very popular in this area for the river. A lot of tube fishermen.
Tube heads, tubes, Potomac River, Shenandoah, peanut butter and jelly.
I'll make my way back to you, Thomas.
Hey, you let me know if that doesn't work. All the way up to.
But then again, guys, kind of let me know again what you guys want me to, what you want us to talk about going forward.
Here's the man.
So, guys, we're going to be wrapping it up here. I'm going to be on here for another 5 to 10 minutes to actually answer all of your questions. If you guys have any more questions, it looks like we got them all, which is fantastic. I mean, again, guys, huge shout out to everyone listening that have been here the whole time on the stream. Boogie, thank you so much for listening as long as you have. I really always appreciate having you. Matthew, again, huge shout out. Travis, again, thank you so much for being on the show, sir. Huge announcement, I guess, or kind of a huge announcement. Go to regular screen. This Tuesday is the best podcast episode I'm going to say we've ever launched. We will have Fishhawk on. Fishhawk is going to be live. If you do not know who Fishhawk is, where have you been? In our area, he is the #1 guy for trout, at least in my head, at least. We are going to have him on the show. He's going to talk about the whole world of being a famous YouTuber. He is next to probably Logan Paul and Kim Kardashian on fame when it comes to the fishing world. I may be exaggerating. But we have Fishhawk on this Tuesday. That's going to be dropping. Look for that. It's going to be a really, really awesome show. The other thing is I have more videos coming out next week, as well as another live stream we're going to be doing. I'm thinking because of some popular demand, we're going to be doing a live stream from my basement studio on bank fishing, everything bank fishing in the area, and how I attack different bodies of water. This is what I need from you guys. You are going to email me at aaronsbasson@gmail.com, @aaronsbasson@gmail.com. Email me different ponds you want me to go over during the live stream, and I will break down your bodies of water on a live stream this coming week. I will have the dates coming up here shortly, but besides that, guys, I think I'm going to go through here. Any more questions that I have? Boogie, I started fishing June summer. I'm absolutely obsessed with bass fishing. I'm currently living in Western Maryland at the pond. Yep, I actually live, Boogie, I actually live somewhere near you. I live near Hagerstown, Maryland, actually. Let's see. And great show, guys. Thank you so much. And then again, guys, so huge shout out to Jared Mounts for coming out and helping us set all this up. Huge shout out to everyone today that's made this show, a reality. And also a huge shout out to, I'll get his name right because I, for some reason, can't speak American today, Rippin' Lips with Marty Lawson. Thank you for coming on the show. It's a little teaser to the podcast episode we're going to do about all the fishing opportunities that are located in Frederick. But again, guys, this has been awesome. My name is Thomas Ahrens. We got another question here. Yep, got it. But again, yeah, guys. Yes, Marty, I'm going to be hopefully. It's happening this summer. Eventually, I'm getting down to fish with you. It's just about logistics since I'm also in school and actually work a full-time job and do this because I'm insane. So, but hopefully we'll get that done too. Again, guys, Fredericksburg area is insane. It's really cool down there. There's tons of lakes I didn't even know about. So it's really neat to actually see those bodies of water down there. And trying our best to kind of highlight, again, everything that's in the DMV area that you guys can actually go and fish and highlight these places. Again, Matt Morris, yeah, thank you so much. Again, guys, try to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please share this live stream. The bigger the channel gets, that means I can actually just do more. We can start hiring employees. We can have more content creators. We can grow. We can blow this up, but still keep the small feel. We don't want to be an international show. We just want to be the best show for this area, the best show possible for you guys, to give you guys the content that you want so we can grow a community that we can help everyone out so we can catch more fish. So, again, guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next time. My name is Thomas Ahrens, Fishing the DMV. Peace out.
You're listening to Fishing the DMV with your hosts, Thomas Ahrens and Jared Mounts. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what will.